What up, everybody? Good morning and a happy Thursday to you all. Big thanks for tuning in wherever, however you're tuning in from. It's on those radio dials, 105.1 FM, 790 AM, also online at sportstalk1051.com. Stream it up with your smart devices, smart speakers, or the Sports Talk app. Download that, take it on the go. Video streams. We've got a couple more now, too. Facebook, YouTube, but also now on Twitch and back on Instagram over here. We started off on Instagram. Now we're back over on Instagram here this morning, too. So YouTube, Facebook, Twitch. That's what the kids use, maybe. I don't know. We're going to try it out here. And then back on Instagram over there. So all over the place. But big thanks for tuning in this morning and making us a part of your start on this Friday Eve, the Thursday before the opener. Starting to kick in, maybe the cold temps, maybe a little bit of snow. Maybe that's what's got starting to get into deer season here a little bit more. If it was kind of like, now maybe it's kind of starting to hit you a little bit more. Getting set. So I got everything packed and ready to go and heading off tomorrow afternoon. So before all that fun, though, what do we got on a game plan for us this morning? Well, hey, we're going to be catching up with our buddy Jake Boakes, conservation warden for the state of Wisconsin, coming up at about 8:30 this morning. So Jake was in last week for an extended version. Reminder: if you ever miss any chats with Jake, they are up on the Man Cave podcast. So that extended version too is up on our podcast. But again, if you got any last second questions for Jake, gotta text it to us now. 715-830-1912 on that Shoe Doctors bullpen line here this morning. So last chance before you hit the woods. Okay. Get those puppies on in. We got that. We're going to talk a little, Bucks picking up, speaking of hunting and Bucks. Bucks picking up a win last night against the Chicago Bulls, 122 to 106. Giannis doing Giannis things again. Nearly a triple-double for him, but 41 points for Giannis, 8 assists, 9 rebounds, so nearly another triple-double for the Greek Freak. Brook Lopez has actually been putting together some solid games here too. He put up 21 points, and then Damian Lillard, a double-double for him, 20 points and 10 assists. AJ Green coming off the bench, 5 trays, 5 3-pointers. That's where all of his scoring came from, 18 points, 5 of 7 from 3, playing 27 minutes off the bench for the Bucks here. So, but Bucks, big game coming up tomorrow, going up against the Pacers. They're starting to creep up there a little bit. They're now 10th in the Eastern Conference, but you look at the Eastern Conference, and we've been kind of saying it for a while now. It's not a lot separating 3 to 10th where the Bucks currently are at right now. Knicks are 9-6. Bucks are just 3 games back, 6-9 here. So again, not that much of an insurmountable lead here, maybe outside of the top 2 seeds here, with Cleveland at 16-1 and Boston at 12-3 here. But it's not how you start, it's how you finish, right? So Bucks may have got some decent news here surrounding Chris Middleton. Shams from ESPN yesterday afternoon, early evening, saying that Middleton has been medically cleared. He has been medically cleared to play. Guess right now he's just kind of gearing up, ramping up, if you will, getting in game shape before he makes his debut. So, according to Shams and ESPN, Middleton has increased his on-court activity and has consistently completed 3-on-3 play over the past several weeks. The team is supportive of Middleton as he works towards a return to the court as his best self, but Doc Rivers said yesterday too that he's looked good. He's working his butt off. I think he's close, and he just keeps He just keeps going to work. This is the best I've seen him. I will say that. The Bucks are still hopeful that Middleton will participate in some 5-on-5 scrimmages before he returns to game action, but his return will be based on when he feels ready. So it sounds like it's pretty much up to Middleton at this point. That's kind of what I read from it, that it's up to Middleton at this point when he's ready to hit the court. He's medically cleared. It's kind of up to him now how whether he feels like he's in game shape or such, but I guess the pun intended here, the ball's in Middleton's court at this point in time. So, but we'll talk some Bucks, we'll talk some hoops here this morning. Packers returning to practice yesterday. Again, fairly healthy. Jair did not practice. He was spotted riding a treadmill, if that means anything out there. But Colby Wooden returned to practice, and that's pretty much it. Marshawn Lloyd. I mean, talk about a rookie running back who has had some of the worst luck injury-wise when it comes to his season here. Preseason training camp, dealing with a hamstring, gets on the field and then plays a few plays, gets hurt, gets put on injured reserve, and then as soon as he comes back from injured reserve, he has appendicitis. So, and then now he's placed on the inactive list, non-NFL injury list, so he's going to miss some time again. I mean, you talk about a dude who has gone through some of the most unfortunate injury stuff in his rookie year. I think we could kind of call this rookie year a wash here for him at this point in time. So, but man, what a downer of a rookie year for Marshawn Lloyd. But outside of that and Jair, Packers pretty darn healthy heading into this game, going up against the 49ers here. 49ers. So Matt LaFleur did say about Jair Alexander that, again, we'll see. They'll give him the week. That's typical Matt LaFleur talk when it comes to Jair Alexander. Packers did collect an award this week. Should say a player collected an award this week. Carl Brooks was named Special Teams Player of the Week when it obviously came to his blocked punt or blocked field goal there at the end of the game. So he was named Special Teams Player of the Week. So we'll talk some football. We'll talk some. We're going to talk some football and talk a little bit about this game heading up. Green Bay versus 49ers, and that start to look at that, start to yeah, I was getting sidetracked here. Had a weird email come through. Anyways, yeah, we'll talk a little Packers and 49ers coming up here in just a little bit too. So we got that. We got a little receiver defer coming up at 7:45. We always take your suggestions when it comes to receiver defer. So if you got anything, let us know. Text it on over to us or comment on the video streams and that. We'll throw a little baseball in here too. I know I was out yesterday, but Pat Murphy did win the National League Manager of the Year. So shout out to Pat Murphy. Not even close when it came to the voting. 27 of the 31st place votes. 27 of the first place 27 of the 31st place votes going to Pat Murphy there. So, but the offseason, the rumors and the rumblings continuing to go out there in the hot stove season, still fairly kind of quiet for the Brewers and such. Again, when you go to Major League Baseball overall, we're kind of waiting on the Juan Soto thing. I saw one rumor that it could be maybe as early as next week or the beginning of December that he potentially could decide where he's going to go. So maybe then that domino falls after that. I'm sure guys like Willy Adames going to be waiting for that, see where he goes, and then maybe the other teams that are in contention for another bat or another player will potentially make that offer to Willy Adames over there. So, but we'll go over some of the latest rumors and rumblings when it comes to the Brewers and the baseball world and all that good stuff as well. So, got that. We'll talk a little Badgers as well with the final 2 weeks of this Badger football season getting underway here. We've got Nebraska coming up here. Badgers got to win one more to get bowl eligible. Will they do it between either Nebraska or the Axe against Minnesota next week? Confidence, vibe check, Badger football fans. Where are you at? Do you think they'll get that win and become bowl eligible? Do you think they'll get into a bowl game this year? Yay or nay? Thumbs up, thumbs down. What you got for me? Let me know. Hit me up, okay? Hit me up with those texts and comments and such. Hoops wise, Badgers will be back in action tomorrow. An interesting game going up against UCF. The UCF Knights, that should be an interesting game. UCF so far this season, they are also undefeated. They began their season against Texas A&M, who was ranked 23rd at that time with a win. They've got a win against Fort Wayne, Florida Atlantic, and Tennessee Tech. So, interesting game. And I know Andy Katz, who covers NCAA basketball, talked about, or he listed that as one of his top 10 games for this week, the games that he had his eye on. So, be interesting. Another good test, I think, for this Badger basketball team as you know, in the early goings of this season, because after UCF, they got Chicago State, Michigan, Marquette, Illinois, Butler. Not a bad test of a schedule for the Badgers to begin this season. Obviously, the big one was Arizona, the win over Arizona and such, but I'd like the makeup of this schedule before really fully getting into the Big Ten schedule. Yes, you've got Michigan. Yes, you've got Illinois mixed in there in the early parts. But you throw in Butler, you throw in UCF, obviously you throw in Arizona over there too. I like what Wisconsin kind of did there, mixed and matched here. And I know some of it's tournament stuff and all that, but I like it. I think it's a good test for this team to dive into a Big Ten. Honestly, I feel like the Big Ten could potentially be up for grabs. I know Purdue is going to be up there. They're ranked, 6th. Illinois is getting some attention. Rutgers at the back end there too. I know earlier was it Ohio State, so it was getting a little bit of attention. But honestly, I feel like you look at this Big Ten, and remember, it includes UCLA and Oregon and those. I think Wisconsin can be a team that competes for the Big Ten championship with perhaps Purdue. I really do. It's incredibly early, and I know when we entered this season, we didn't know a whole lot about this team, but from what we've seen from Tanji and we knew Blackwell, we were kind of hoping that he was going to make a jump this year. I kind of like Wisconsin competing for the Big Ten championship this season. Maybe I'm putting a lot of eggs in my basket for the early couple weeks here, but I think the Big Ten's up there. It's up for grabs for Wisconsin. I think they got a shot. I do. I really do. So, yeah, we'll talk some hoops a little bit later on here. Let's get things rolling here this morning, though, shall we? Let's get right to it. We'll talk some hoops. We'll talk some football here. Should note too that since we're talking college hoops, Marquette did beat Purdue, and so got that pick wrong the other day. But it was a triple-double from Cam Jones over at Marquette. That was a signature win for early on for Marquette too. So I don't know. I feel like college hoops for between Badger men's basketball and Marquette might be kind of fun to watch this year. Really pay attention to. So, but all right, let's get things going here. We'll begin it off with the leadoff. We'll mix in a little basketball talk with a little football talk and all that fun stuff. But send us what else is on your mind. Text us, hit us up, 715-830-1912. What else? You got anything else that's on your mind? Receiver defer questions. Send those on over. Questions for Jake for our outdoor tidbits in a couple hours. Hit us up with that too. First break, and then we'll get things kicked off this morning. We'll be back in just a couple minutes. We don't have any closings or delays this morning, but maybe last night and this morning with the temperatures, it's a good reminder that that season is upon us. And you want to stay tuned to sportstalk1051.com for the WEAU 13 News First Alert school closings, brought to you by Hovland's and ServiceMaster. So good reminder. I know the roads were very slippery last night and closing down some highways and such. So it's just a good reminder with the kiddos in school. It's going to be that time of year again to always stay tuned to any closings and delays. Even if you think it's fine out there, you might want to just double check every morning. Again, you can head to sportstalk1051.com for the WEAU 13 News First Alert school closings, brought to you by Hovland's and ServiceMaster. And while you're there, don't forget to check out the best holiday ever. You can click on the banner at the top there and check out all of the contests, tickets, giveaways. Plus, for Backyard Dreams, we want to take some kiddos Christmas shopping this year. We did it last year. Want to do it again this year. So if you can go over there and nominate a child that you think deserves an extra special Christmas this year, go to aroundthe715.com, or again, you can just stay at our website, click on that banner, and it'll go over there too, and you'll see the icon there. Nominate a child to go Christmas shopping. That's going to be closing up here fairly soon. So if you know that child, make sure you nominate them over there too. And if you're not a hunter, we got a lot of stuff going on here. If you're not a hunter, but you want to help out your community, I know some of our crew is going to be at Bullwinkle's this Saturday. And for a small cash donation from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m., you hit a strike. That's going to help get a turkey into a family's hands this year. Then on Tuesday from 10 a.m. to noon, we're going to be at Hy-Vee handing out those turkeys. So a lot of stuff going on this holiday season. It is that time of year. So, all right, let's. When are you leaving for Thanksgiving across the ocean over there?
Wednesday. Next Wednesday afternoon, we're going to head over there. We're going to stop in London, and then my son is in the Army. He's deployed in Albania, and so I'm going to go over there and visit him for 3 or 4 days and see a part of the world I've never seen before. So
nice.
Looking forward to that. But you mentioned earlier about the roads. I was out bowling last night, came home about 6:30 from up in Chippewa Falls, and I normally come out Old 29 and get on 53 and bypass there and come down, blocked off because people were sliding around in the ditch up on the highway. So I came all the way down 29 to T and came south there. Yep. And I got off on the bridge, and I was listening to the Bucks game, half paying attention, got on the overpass, and boy, I'm telling you, I did a donut.
Oh, wow.
It was slippery, got my attention in a hurry. So be careful. And they say if you're going east this morning, be careful because there's still some tricky weather over that way. So Mother Nature's changing her tune.
Absolutely. And with the WIAA state football beginning, I know there's going to be some games that could be dealing with some snow or some rain. It transitions into that. So
yeah, down in Madison, they're having some flurries yet this morning. So yeah, and good luck. We would have got about 4 teams from our area in that.
Yeah. So for today, it'll be divisions 7 through 4. So like division 7 will feature Edgar. Division 6 features Grantsburg. 5 will feature Stratford, and then the nightcap around 7 p.m. We know it'll probably be adjusted there, but that's Division 4 when Baldwin Woodville kicks off tonight. Then Rice Lake plays tomorrow in Division 2.
Good deal.
There. So, yeah, best of luck to all of the teams down there, and we'll be paying attention. I know Blue Gold Volleyball also begins their national tournament run today too, so a lot of stuff going on.
Do they have a state championship for the 8-man football?
Owen Withy won it last week.
Oh, they did? Okay, yeah. I missed that. Good.
Yep.
Good.
Yep.
Okay.
It was last Saturday in Rapids.
Good deal.
Owen Withy won it. So.
Good deal.
But, yeah, probably a good shot that we'll get some local ones. Rice Lake just continues to impress, moving up a division, Division 2, and back at state for that program.
Are they still in the Middle Border Conference?
No, they're in
back in the Big Rivers?
Yeah, yep.
Good.
So
WIA recognized a mistake, a flaw.
So yeah, definitely good program. A lot of these teams that we mentioned at state, they're usual returners.
Yeah, they've got good programs established, but stability is what it takes. Unfortunately, it's not what we've seen in our Clare public schools, North and Memorial, and it takes stability. Coaches are going to stay there, program that can be put in place. You got to have a good feeder program. needs to be improved in the city of Eau Claire.
Yep. So, but it's I think it's turning over, especially northwise too. So,
Oh yeah,
definitely.
yeah. That'll be interesting now that they get their new stadiums on the schools,
Mhm.
on the school grounds, and who's going to play football at Carson Park here in the near future? I don't know.
Yeah, Regis maybe. Regis.
Yeah, I'm sure
over
Regis
there.
will stay,
So,
and I don't
mhm.
know, some of these semi-pro teams that start up and play for a while and whatever. I don't know
Yeah.
how successful that'll be, but again, yeah, that's there's a reason for it, and we won't delve into it right now.
So, well, you were listening to the Bucks game. At least it was a decent one for the Bucks. They picked up the win last night. Giannis doing Giannis things, over 40 points for the Greek Freak. Brooke Lopez putting together some solid performances back to back, maybe boosting up his trade value. I'm just throwing that out there. I had to throw that out there.
Oh, I'm sure his name's in the mix.
But Bucks now 6-9, moving up a little bit in the Eastern Conference standings. Before the game, ESPN Shams from ESPN had reported that Middleton is medically cleared to play. He's medically cleared. It's pretty much in the hands of Middleton when he feels like he's ready to play, that they're ramping him up, trying to get into game shape, 5-on-5s and all that. But again, he is medically cleared. It just seems like it's kind of in the hands of Middleton to decide when he wants to be out on that court at this point in time.
Yeah, I know. It seems, I don't know. You don't know what's going on within his body and how he feels his body holds up and what the doctors say. It's going to be his. It's hard to say. These guys at this level are very, very competitive. But you do question if the doctors say he's ready and he doesn't play, what's going on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, is it just strictly he wants to? Thing is, you can practice, game shape, 5-on-5s and all that. Nothing can actually replicate a real game, right?
No, not even close. Nope. Unless you're playing with Michael Jordan.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
he's always competitive.
Exactly. So that's. I mean, at some point, you're just gonna be like, all right, let's go do it. And I don't know if you'll be on a minutes restriction, kind of like what he was last year at the beginning, where remember he wasn't playing back to backs and that whole thing, which is a new thing now in the NBA with teams and players not playing
Even
back to
healthy
backs.
guys don't play back to back.
I don't know. So I don't know what the plan will be for him when he gets to that point, but I guess we'll wait and see. But hopefully it's close. I know Doc Rivers said he looked good yesterday. He said he's close, but he said close before how many times? So it's like the boy who cried wolf at this point. I don't know. At this point, I'm not gonna worry about it or hope about it until we actually see it happen, because we've been teased about this since October, really. August, October, September, October.
I thought he would be playing by now, but he hasn't, so we'll just have to wait.
Yeah, but how much of a boost do you think he's going to provide for this team? What's the expectation when he does come back for you?
The expectation is that they'll be a much better team because they'll have more scoring opportunities.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's going to be interesting for Doc Rivers how he plays those three guys, Lillard, Giannis, and Middleton. Can he play them together? Are there enough balls to go around, or is it going to be Lillard starts and then then you substitute in, and Middleton would then be the scoring threat with Damian Lillard on the bench? I don't know how it's going to work, but like I said, there's only one ball, and I don't know if they can share it or not.
I know. The other day we were talking about some of the younger guys actually getting more playing time. Andre Jackson Jr. has been in starting lineups, but AJ Green has been a guy who's really taken advantage of his opportunities lately. 18 points, all 3-pointers, over 20 minutes coming off the bench here. It's been his defensive play that has drawn the attention from some of his teammates, though. Talking about that's a big improvement they've seen from him. And to AJ Green's credit, he acknowledged, he's like, I knew I had to get better at defense if I wanted to get more playing time. And
I think there are more than one Buck that has to get better at defense.
Yeah, so I'm all about AJ Green, Andre Jackson Jr. You got to get those younger guys, especially if you're gonna. Well, here's a good test. Pacers are coming up tomorrow night. Team that wants to run in space or will run in transition. Excuse me. So you better get those young guys. They can probably run a little bit better than some of these old guys on this roster.
Yeah, that's true. But you watch Giannis, and when he's on his game, I mean, you just marvel. Your eyes open up and you just marvel at what he can do. I mean, about 3 steps, he can go from one end of the court to the other, it seems like. And when he's on, sometimes he gets a little, I don't want to say ball hoggish, but if he handles the ball too much, I think his game goes down. I think if he lets the flow of the game come to him, if he gets a long rebound and dribbles it down and goes in, he's unstoppable. But he's just magnificent player to watch.
A couple of nuggets here for what Giannis has been doing here as of late. Games with 40 or more points and 70% or higher field goal percentage. Giannis has 20. The next closest is Shaq at 12 right now. Giannis in his last 6 games, 41 points, 9 rebounds, 8 assists, 20 points, 13 rebounds, 22 points, 15 rebounds, 12 assists, a triple-double. 59 points, 14 rebounds, 7 assists, 23 points, 4 blocks, 7 assists, 43 points, 13 rebounds, 5 assists. The dude's on a run right now.
There's no question he's on a run, and obviously he's not a flash in the pan, because he's been doing this game after game after game. And I think the rest of the guys, they got some new guys there. Have they learned how to play with him? It sounds like maybe now they're learning how to play with him and understanding what he can do and where to be to help him when he needs that help.
Mm-hmm. Kendrick Perkins had this to say after the game. It's not just what Giannis is doing, but it's how he's doing it. Just might be the most dominant offensive performance I've seen this season so far. Just straight tomato chest and daddy ball in the paint. My God. So
he is, like I said, he's a magnificent player to watch. I mean, he does things nobody else in that league will do.
Mm-hmm.
Now, would you rather watch him play or Joel Embiid?
Oh, Giannis.
That's what I mean. Yeah. Joel Embiid seems, you watch him and it seems like he's kind of like an old man with his movements. And Giannis can be so fluid and does it so easily. And Embiid is hard to watch, but I think Giannis is just a spectacular player.
Yeah. Really quick, I should one of those stats that I put out there. So with the 40-point games and 70% field goal percentage, those were for this century all time. For all time, he is now the leader. He passed Adrian Dantley, who had 20 over there. Then it's Shaq. Then it's Wilt Chamberlain. Then it's Kareem. And then Michael Jordan's tied with George Gervin and Karl Malone. But Giannis running away with it right now. So
where's it going to be by the end of his career?
Gosh, it's receiver defer in the 40s, 40 games. It's at least 30, right?
Oh, absolutely.
At least 30, because, man, if he gets a little older, he might just stay down low a little bit more, and that's going to boost the field goal percentage too. So,
yeah, the man is worth watching. That's for sure.
Yeah,
and it's just a matter of the rest of them learning how to play around him, and for Doc Rivers to learn how to coach these guys to play around him. Damian Lillard is who he is. Chris Middleton, when he comes back, is going to be who he is. I wouldn't expect him, I expect him to play a little bullfighter defense, Olay, just kind of wave at him, because I don't think he wants to, get hurt again. But they learn how to play with Giannis. This team can go a long way.
There was something else. And Giannis last night moved up to number 65 on the all-time scoring list, passing Scottie Pippen on that list already. So,
boy, where will he end up? Because is he 28, 29 years old now?
No, he's in his 30s.
Oh, he is in his 30s already. Boy, the kid's growing up.
Is he in his 30s? Let me double check.
I'm not sure, but
he will actually be 30 December 6th.
Okay, all right.
But the kid is growing up.
Yes, he is. Boy, oh boy, he's been around a long time, but he still seems like such a young guy. Boy, I don't know if there are many players that came into the league as a draft choice and ascended to where he's ascended to. I mean, Michael Jordan, you knew he was going to be great. Shaq, you knew he was going to be great. But Giannis came in as one of these.
Who?
Yeah, exactly. How good could this kid be? and look where he's ascended to. I don't know if another player has made such a leap. You know, they're all these great players. I mean, you know, LeBron, you know what he was when he came in, and he's lived up to it. But some of these other guys, I don't know anybody outside of Giannis that has ascended so high from where he started.
Yeah, I don't know either. I really don't. I'm looking at the list here. I don't think it's that far fetched to say he could get close to the top 10. Carmelo is 10th on this list with 28,289. I don't think it's that far fetched to say Giannis could get in that top 10.
No. I would imagine maybe his target is 30,000 points before he retires.
There is 7 players with 30,000 points. One's going to be in that category fairly soon here, but there's 7 players currently with at least 30,000 or more. Can you name them?
Is KD in that? Or is
He is the one that is. He's 29,172.
Yeah. Well, you know, you got LeBron on top, and you
Yep.
got Kareem as second.
Yep.
Jordan.
Yep.
Well, I gotta spin through my history here in the league.
One way back in the day, and a couple that are more recent.
Is Jerry West in that?
Nope.
No. Yeah, I can't just this quick.
Yeah. Karl Malone is third most.
Yeah.
Kobe, fourth most.
Yep.
Dirk is sixth most, and then Wilt Chamberlain has the seventh most. Where is?
But how many? You know that's one category, but then you break it down to how many games, how many years they played to do that. You know, it's
so of the top 10 right now, or actually let's just say the top 7 for everybody who's in the 30,000s. It's not that big of a surprise, but okay. Well, the one guy who did it in the fewest amount of games was Wilt at 1,045. Then it was Jordan at 1,072. Everybody else is about 13, 14, 1,500 games over there. I was a little surprised at this one. Steph Curry's 29th on this list. I thought he'd be a little bit higher at this point.
Yeah, how many points does he have?
He's got 23,921.
And he's played a lot of years, too.
Yeah, he's got 967 games on here, which isn't compared to a lot of these other guys. They're in the thousands, except Jerry West is 25th, and he only played 932. Surprised with this one. Allen Iverson only played 914 games. He's right above Steph Curry right now. So
yeah, he didn't play long. He spent a lot of time at practice.
Yeah, I'll just say that. So, but no, I think easily top 20 for Giannis when it's all said and done.
I think so too.
Easily top
and
20.
I wouldn't be surprised if he's not in the top 8 going to 30,000.
I'm curious on a guy like where the Joker finishes up with everything.
Yeah, the Joker and Luka.
Luka too. Yeah, that's a good one.
Scores. He's not afraid to shoot, that boy.
Right. Of the active players, LeBron, KD, James Harden, whereas DeMar DeRozan's up here too. So, but of active players, Giannis is 9th. Damian is actually 8th for the most points in their careers. I'm just kind of going down to see where, if I can find Luka on that right away. I can't right now. I have to look at that later. Oh, Luka's 39th. Luka's 39th. He's got 11,863.
Yeah, and he'll move up in a hurry.
Oh yeah,
because he shoots a lot of basketballs.
Actually, Chris Middleton's 34th on this list too. 12,461. Interesting. He's above Jason Tatum right now.
Well, hopefully he'll play enough where he can go in there, because Jason Tatum doesn't miss games.
No,
he's there.
Joker's 24th, 14,436 on that list. So, all right, let's take a quick break, and then we'll regroup here. We got some football. Were you at the Oregon game?
Yes, I was.
Okay, we might have to dive into that
was.
One. All right, 2 more games to go here. Vibe check, Badger fans. You think the Badgers will win one more to become bowl eligible? What you think? We'll be back in just a couple minutes. Just a couple days of the opener, and we want to make note to our good buddies, our good friends at Mike's Star Market. They've got some extended hours for the opener this weekend. Saturday, 9 to 6. Sunday, they're going to be open 1 to 4. Back to normal for Monday through Wednesday of next week, which is 9 to 6. Closed on Thanksgiving, but then Friday, 9 to 6, and then the following Saturday be 9 to 3. But extended hours this weekend. In case you need to drop off your deer. And again, you can check out their Facebook page. They've got all the details, prices, options listed up over there. Or if it's your first time too, as they noted, if it's your first time taking it over to Mike Star Markets, they'll help you through the entire process. So just stop on by and chat with Sarah or Mike or whoever maybe over there, and they'll help you out with that deer. And if you're lucky enough to get one, share some of the wealth with the rest of us. Like drop it off on a Thursday morning, some of your samples, so intern and myself can taste test some of it.
Not a bad idea. I'm going to hunting camp for the first time. And
holy moly!
How much does a license cost? I haven't hunted for
$24.
Oh, that's not a bad deal.
That's the thing. 24, 27, somewhere on it, but you got to do the online fees and that. But yeah, it's not bad. No, I don't think it's bad.
When you compare the tickets to go to a Bucks game, a Packers game, a Badger game, how much they've increased over the years. Deer hunting is a bargain.
100%. So are you just going to hang out at deer
I don't know. I'm going to take my orange and my rifle with me. And, now it's not so strict as far as buying that license. You can be a little flexible. But I was with some friends, high school friends, here a few weeks ago. And they said, well, come out to deer camp. I said, well, what? And one of my buddies had bought a place down near Richland Center.
Oh, yep.
And he said, yeah, come on down. We got plenty of room. He's got a nice chalet. And another guy says to me, yeah, it's nice. All right. so I'm heading down there tomorrow afternoon. And
nice.
If nothing else, reminisce and spend some time with some old friends and their kids. And
well, that'll be a good time.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Absolutely. Hudson's going to sit for the first time this year too.
Good man. Good. Should be a beautiful opening weekend, right around 40 into the upper 20s overnight, Friday night, Saturday night, Sunday night, and low 40s and maybe a little sun. The greatest thing in the world for me, deer hunting was, and I've shot a couple, 3 deer I know over the years, but about 2 o'clock in the afternoon, finding a tree that faces the west, let that sun shine in your face, and then take a little nap.
Yep.
And hopefully a deer doesn't interrupt your good nap.
Hutsy's excited. He put the pressure on Dad last night though, because was it last year? Yeah, last year. Because I've always wanted like a high tan just for the man cave, and I got one last year. He's like, Dad, I want one this year so I can remember my first time going out. I'm like, oh boy, now you really put the pressure on Dad to go get one. And
oh boy,
I'm like, oh man. So now I'm like,
is he old enough to?
He got the age thing, but he's not ready. It's not like back in the day where you had to be like 12 and all that.
Yeah, that's what I mean. He's not 12.
But now this is what grinds my gears. Okay. Because there's times when you tell me, because you can do like, they do the mentor and that, telling me a 2-year-old is able to get it. Come on now. Let's.
I don't know if that's a decision that was made because there aren't as many hunters as there used to be. And they're trying to keep selling as many licenses as they can. Yeah, sometimes common sense has to prevail, and I'm not sure that's common sense.
No, I mean, he's 7.5 and he's not even close to being. No, I would not put him out there and do that. No. I mean, crying out loud, when I was there, it was 12, and then you sit with a mentor for a couple of years till you're like 14, 15 before you could go out. And I think I still think that's the best way.
I do too. It's the same. It is. It's just, you got to be safe first to enjoy the hunt.
Yep. And I think there says something too about, when you're at that age and you get to sit with somebody, I don't know, just that I wouldn't change it. I wouldn't change it for all those, sitting with the family member or something like that.
Oh, no. Your early remembrances of early deer hunts, it's special. It really is. It's not like the first time you go to a ball game or first time you go to the fair or anything like that. First time you're in the woods and you're out there and, you see deer running around or this, that, and the other thing. And, you got to be quiet. Let them get up there. This, that, and, it's different. It is. It's special.
Yep. Yep, definitely. So, and I remember more of the big ones I missed than some of the ones I've got. And those are
Yeah.
usually the
And
story.
I admit, and I've watched them come in, and I'm thinking, what a beautiful animal. Oh, maybe I should shoot it. I'm enthralled with the magnificence.
Mhm.
You see deer run around your yard or in the road or this, that, and the other thing. But when you see them in the woods, especially a buck, and all of a sudden they stop, they pick up one of their front feet, and they go into kind of a stance or a
Mhm.
pose and turn their head around. It's something. It's really, if you don't appreciate that, then you shouldn't hunt. But it's really something.
Yep.
They're not very pretty to look at when they're laying by the side of the road, but when they're in the woods
Mhm.
and they raise their heads, and they really are the
Mhm.
kings of the woods.
Yeah, and I'm excited mostly. I just want to see something when
Hmm.
Hudson's with, just because I want him to I want to see how he reacts. Because I remember as a kid, I mean, you're just shaking like a leaf when a deer would come through. You're
You don't
nervous and
have to
that.
be a
So
kid to shake
no,
like a
I
leaf.
still do if there's one coming
Oh
through
yeah.
that too. So, Aaron says taking the kids out of school today and heading to deer camp. All 3 kids hunting. I will be a glorified deer guide this year, and I am so excited. So.
Yeah, you are. You're more excited to expose your kids to that first experience, whether it's deer hunting or whatever it
Mm-hmm.
is, to see the look in their face
Yep.
and the memories they're going to have forever being with dad or grandpa or Uncle Joe or whoever it is.
Mm-hmm.
It means a lot.
Yep. Yep. Best of luck. Be safe, Aaron and family, and everybody else going out there too. I know Mike texted a little bit earlier saying good luck, safe hunts to all the hunters out there too. So.
Yeah. And if you're leaving this morning and going any place kind of east, be careful because the roads are a little tricky that way. I've got to get on to Black River for a meeting later on this morning. I'm hoping the roads are cleaned up now, especially these overpasses where you got
Yeah.
roads that go underneath that overpass. Boy, those are really slippery in
That and
places.
bridges, I always
Yep,
just slow
yep,
down a little bit
yep,
too.
absolutely.
You never know what's going on over
Yep.
there. So that's what I did this morning, going over the river on Claremont. I just didn't know, so rather take it easy going over there.
Yeah,
So.
well, I found out going over 29 last night, not even the river, just over 29 on T.
Mm-hmm.
I got my attention. I learned
Yep.
how fast I could go into a spin.
Yep. Definitely. Were you, I can't remember, were you here last week? We only got a couple minutes, so I don't want to get into too much Badger
No, I
stuff
was
right
in
now.
Kansas City.
That's right. So I got to tell you, took Hudson to a basketball game at Sonantag a couple weeks ago.
Oh, how is that?
Amazing, man.
Great experience.
You have to go check it
I
out.
will.
I mean, first of all, I know that I already said this, but for anybody else too, I mean, if you haven't gone there, one, go hungry. They got full on concessions. You're talking pizzas, chicken sandwiches, brats, beer. I mean, I gotta have a beer, because I'm kind of on campus and I never was able to when I was at school. So, and
Not legally anyway.
yeah.
Not legally anyway.
I went up to get a lemonade for Hudson, and the concession lady's like, "Well, we have beer if you want one." I'm like, "God darn it," But I mean, top level, bottom level was concessions all over the place. I
Good
mean,
deal. Yeah, I'm excited to get into that facility and excited to see the future
mhm.
of how they turn that building into a real positive for the athletic and the program in general.
Instant replays on the scoreboards right away to watch
Wow.
that. I mean, it was that, and I know the men's team. I know they're off to a 1-3 start, but there's 3 losses. All first win of the season was against a top 15 ranked opponent, and their last 3 they lost in the last couple seconds. I mean, this watching Zach and Adam on the sidelines, the 2 coaches, there's just different energy. There's a good intensity with that. So, but it was just the atmosphere was awesome, and just you felt like you're at a big time college game a little bit. So
That's good because it's been a long time coming. Zorn
Mhm.
Arena served its purpose for the time, but the last 10, 15 years, that's been an inadequate facility for
Mhm.
trying to put a competitive college program on the floor.
And I think I could
Men and women.
Yeah, and I think I can say it now because it's out there. But so when we went. It was the opening, the Mark and Johnson tip-off tournament.
Yep.
Our good buddy Rob Domofsky from ESPN
Yeah.
actually sent me a text. He was going to the game because
good.
they were recruiting his kid, O'Claris.
Good deal.
So watched the game a little bit with him. A couple days later, his kid has committed to UW Eau Claire. So,
well, you have to be. I haven't
Yeah.
seen it, but you from the outside, I mean, you have to be impressed by that facility, knowing Eau Claire is now
mhm,
in the modern world.
yep. So, and his kid Rowan had a lot of colleges going after him, and that's a big pickup for UW Eau Claire over
Good
there
deal.
too.
I hope
So,
that's just the start of many, many, many good players coming here and turning the fortunes of this program around again.
absolutely. So yeah, I wanted to tell you definitely, and that got Hudson hooked too. So we've already got our next game we're going to be going to.
Yeah,
so.
I got to get the schedule so I can get down there.
But it was fantastic. It was just so cool.
Yeah,
Just
congratulations everybody who put that
Yeah.
facility together. The Sonnentags county, is a hotel done yet next
I
door?
don't think so. Not
Yeah,
yet. No,
but that's going to just add to it as well.
Mhm.
And so no, great facility. What did Rob Demosky say about the facility?
He's like, "Is it too big?" I'm like, it's because it was the first game, and I think he's kind of joking there too. But
Yeah.
he's like, it was just he was super impressed with it. Actually, this was like only the second time he's been in Eau Claire. He's always driven by going to Vikings games and that.
yeah.
So, but yeah, definitely very, very impressed. So, really cool.
Good deal.
Yep.
Did you take him out and show him some of the spots?
They did on one of the other one of his first trips over there. So he was asking me, he's like, "So is Water Street and downtown Eau Claire the same?" I'm like, "No, no, no, nope."
Nope.
He's like, "Well, I've heard some Water Street stories from some friends back in the day." I'm like, "Yeah, that's just literally down the street right here."
Back in the day.
Back in the day. All right, 1 hour in, we got a couple more to go. We'll talk some Badgers, some Packers coming up in the next hour. Second hour kicking off on this Friday Eve, this Thursday morning. Big thanks for tuning in wherever, however you may be tuning in from. We got a little throwback Thursday to kick off this hour. Let's do a couple of notes here. 1934, the Yankees purchased the contract of one Joe DiMaggio from San Francisco of the Pacific Coast League. We've got 1977. Walter Payton ran for an NFL record at that time, 275 yards against the Minnesota Vikings. And 1982, the NFL resumed its season following a 57-day players' strike. What was that like in 1982, the players' strike in the NFL? Was it a big deal back then?
Oh, yeah, it was a
Yeah.
real big deal. They hadn't had anything like that. You know, it goes back to when Kurt Flood changed baseball with free agency. And then when these guys went on strike, you know, and it's hard for the public to realize they were doing that. Dollars back then compared to dollars now are nothing like it. But they had some complaints that changed football. There's no question about it. From all the way from training camp to salaries to free agency, the whole works.
Yeah. Those are just some of your nuggets here this morning. Back into this hour, we're going to do some receiver to fur. Saw you working on your list over there, it looked like.
Yep.
We got Jake Boakes coming up at 8:30. I know we had an extended version of Jake last Thursday, but any last second questions for our DNR Warden buddy? Text those on over to us, 715-830-1912. Badgers football getting set to take on Nebraska. One more win in these final two. They'll get bowl eligible. Where's your vibe right now there, intern, that they're going to get a win either against Nebraska or Minnesota at this point?
Well, I don't know how other people feel, but I don't think the move they made on Sunday was the right move at all.
Phil Longo?
Yep.
What was...
Everybody criticized him, that run and shoot or run and gun offense, whatever. And Fickell's explanation, get rid of Longo. And they said, well, what about your quarterback? Well, he knows he's got to get better. He's got to improve in some areas. He can't improve in some areas. He's clumsy. He's got bad feet. He's got horrible throwing motion. He throws three quarters to get balls knocked down. He doesn't see the field. He's afraid of getting hit. That's where the change needed to be made, not in the coordinator, in my mind.
Yeah.
I think Longo took a lot of blame for the performance of this team.
Within probably no surprise, but you've got the freshman quarterback, redshirt freshman quarterback for Wisconsin, their 3-star. He's entering the transfer portal.
Bang guy said that 2 weeks ago that these guys aren't playing. They're not going to hang around. Because if they're standing on the sidelines saying, I'm not better than this guy, I can run, I can throw better than this guy, you know, they're not getting any playing time. I don't blame those guys. I don't know if any of if I'm a backup quarterback on that team and I think I'm better than, and it doesn't take a whole lot to be better than Braden Locke. It really doesn't.
Cole LaCrue, entering the transfer portal here, and
good luck to him wherever he goes.
Yeah, we'll see. The other, maybe some fallouts to this, but you know, I really don't have a gauge of this program right now, to be honest.
No, I don't think anybody does.
I don't have a good idea. Well, whoever Fickell hires for this offensive coordinator, I know there's been some names attached out there and that, but whoever it is, I mean, this is a job saving. I mean, he's going to need instant improvement next year right away. I mean, Fickell's on the hot seat, right? I mean,
he's got to have improvement this Saturday. He cannot go in and perform the way they have all year. And if he allows Braden Locke to play quarterback these last two games,
he's already a starter. Yeah,
I know it.
Yeah,
but if he doesn't see that this kid cannot play in the Big Ten, I don't know what it's going to take. He's watched him. You know, we had Van Dyke play the first couple of games before he got hurt. But now Locke has been there for about 7 games, and he's not gotten any better. He's digressed in some areas. And if Fickell makes a decision to fire his offense coordinator versus benching his quarterback, I guess not a decision that I agree with. Let's just say that much.
Yeah.
A lot of other people I've talked to don't agree with it either.
Boy, I really don't know what else to say because I mean, I guess I'm not totally surprised at this point because if something was probably going to happen, whether it was in season or at the end of the season, but we were talking to RJ a little bit about it on Tuesday, and he kind of alluded to if you kind of read between the lines and some of the comments between the two coaches during the season, there may not have been maybe that relationship was kind of souring a little bit because there was a comment at one of the pressers. Phil Longo said, "I'm just here to please Luke Fickell." I was like, oh, that's kind of a weird comment to say
It is.
at that point. So don't know if it just got to that where it's like, okay, best to move on at this point in time if they're not on the same page. I don't know, but we've seen this. Okay, you got a new offensive coordinator. I would expect some things differently, but again, that quarterback's going to continue to play like he's playing. That ain't going to change a whole lot either.
No, no. The quarterback.
I can't remember. I mean, there's been some Badger fans frustrated quarterback play, but I can't remember another time where it's a resounding one-sided where a lot of Badger fans, everybody was different. Whether it was Alex Hornibrook, a lot of people liked him. Some had questions about him. This one's different where it feels like it's almost a clear majority. Nobody is on the train for Braden Locke.
Well, Stave was the same way. Remember,
Mm-hmm.
he was before Hornibrook. At least those guys, there were flashes where they had some good games.
Mm-hmm.
This guy has not had a good game yet.
Mm-hmm.
He really has not had a game where you can say, now there's a Big Ten quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
He has not had a good game yet. Those guys all, they could, Stave really couldn't run, but he had a wonderful arm. Hornibrook had a good arm. He just didn't have in my mind, he didn't have the mind to be the way he played. He didn't have the mind to be a Big Ten quarterback. And
Graham Mertz was after that too. And
well, Graham Mertz lacked an awful lot. He was maybe the biggest disappointment we've had at Wisconsin as far as a quarterback in a long, long time. But this kid here, this Locke, when, press conference and Fickell says, well, he knows he's got to get better. Well, yeah, but how's he going to do it? Because he doesn't have the talent to get better. He's not all of a sudden going to have a Joe Namath arm
mm-hmm.
or run like Lamar Jackson. He's just not going to be able to do that. He is what he is, and he's not a Big Ten quarterback on a winning football team.
Yeah. I don't. My confidence isn't very high that they're going to pick up a win these last two games.
It's going to be tough because
Yeah.
Minnesota. If they only have 5 wins and Minnesota comes to town next Friday, Minnesota, it's going to be like the Lions did to the Packers a couple years ago.
Yeah.
They came into Lambeau Field determined to keep the Packers out of the playoffs. The Gophers are going to come into Madison determined to keep the Badgers out of a bowl game.
Mm-hmm.
And Braden Locke isn't going to change that.
Yeah. I mean, Nebraska, they're one win away too. So, they got something to play for in this
Both
game.
teams are 5-5.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I saw this question out on social media. Which program would you rather be right now, Nebraska or Wisconsin? I think I'd rather be Nebraska right now, right?
Well, they've got this freshman quarterback, Raioli, and he's
Mm-hmm.
been up and down, but you've seen some really, really good positive things from him. Tell me some of the positive things you've seen from Braden Locke.
Yeah.
I don't have any, and I hate to say that, but reality is reality. Raiola is, he's been erratic, but you can see that there's some opportunity for this kid. He's going to get better, and he's, he came out guns a-blazing to start the season.
Yeah.
And then teams started looking at film, and, he's still only a true freshman. He's not a redshirt freshman. He's a true freshman. So, it's to come into big-time college football in the Big Ten and even do what he's done, I think is pretty good.
I thought it was good on him, too. He said the other day that he actually Raioli reached out to Dylan Gabriel, the quarterback from Oregon, just to get his thoughts on what he saw against that Badger defense. Because Badger defense played well against Oregon.
Oh, yeah.
They played really well.
Yeah, they made one big mistake. If you were watching the game, first play of the fourth quarter, 4th and 9, our right defensive end did not do his job. He was rushing, and all of a sudden he dove to the inside. Well, that left tackle let him dive to the inside and put him on the ground.
Mm-hmm.
Gabriel rolled out to the left, threw that pass for the first down. If they don't make that 4th and 9, I think the Badgers win that game.
Mm-hmm.
But that was the one play. And we were sitting there watching that, and I saw that kid. I said, "No, don't give him the outside." And he gave him the outside, and there was nobody in his face. I mean, he threw a really good pass to complete that pass, but that was the big play that hurt.
Mm-hmm.
But otherwise, the defense did play a nice game.
Yeah, but I thought it was smart, Rioli, reaching out to Gabriel, like, okay, get a little scouting report. You know, that's a veteran move from a freshman quarterback there.
Yep,
so, yeah. Golly, I really don't have.
No, I mean, it's frustrating because nobody really has a handle on what's going on. I mean, Fickell's not going anyplace. You know, you don't fire a guy after 2 years. But the problem is the arrow pointing in the right direction, looking at the future? That's the question people are asking.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't have the answer. You know, I've got my opinion. Everybody's got their opinion. We're fans. We're not in the locker room. But I think there's some concern.
I would say the arrow is much higher for Badger basketball right now.
Yeah, it is.
And I know I said it in the opener, but I feel like you look at the rest of the Big Ten. Yes, Purdue's there. They're coming off of a loss against Marquette. I think Wisconsin can compete for the Big Ten championship in basketball this year.
Well, I think they can be competitive, no question about it, because you and I both seen Michigan State play, and they're not a world beater. And I saw that some of that Purdue Marquette game the other night, and Marquette's got a nice team.
Yeah, they do.
But Purdue doesn't have that inside presence that they had with Zach Edey. So I think Wisconsin can compete. And I got to give Gard credit, Coach Gard, the other night against, who was he? UT.
Rio Grande Valley.
Kral couldn't play with those guys. They were too fast. He set Kral down. He didn't play much because those guys were running around him like he was a post stuck in the ground. And so he played kids that could compete. And of course, that team shot a lights out. I mean, they'll never shoot that well the whole rest of the season.
Right.
I mean, they were 63, 64% from the field. That's awful good shooting. But Gard saw that Kral was too slow, couldn't play with this kind of game. Set him down.
Yeah. I mean, they shot. Yeah, they were pretty lights out over there. And obviously the Arizona game, you were a little bit of a letdown, coming off of that, and they were down at half, but they grinded it back out. I mean, John Tanji is looking like the real deal. Blackwell followed it up with 30 points in that game.
And I think too, Chucky Hepburn left, which surprised people, but the whole story of why he left was understandable. But I think this team is going to be better because in many cases, Chucky Hepburn slowed the game and kind of changed the momentum. When the Badgers did something good, then he'd hold the ball and he'd, slow the offense down. So maybe in hindsight, Chucky Hepburn leaving wasn't such a bad move.
Yeah, giving other opportunities to the guys like Kamari McGee and all that too.
Yep.
So I'm optimistic about this team this year. I really am.
Yeah, I give Gard a lot of credit because he seems to.
He's adapting, isn't he? Is it fair to
exactly.
say he's adapting?
I think so. Yeah.
And an ever-changing college landscape with everything going on. So I think they could compete for the Big Ten championship. I really do. I
hope so. I hope you're right.
They got a couple.
I haven't seen them play much, but I'm hoping I can watch them more. They're not on TV as much as they used to be because of the reorganization of the networks and the reconfiguration of the Big Ten. So we're not going to see them as much as we used to unless you kind of watch them online. But I'm hopeful too that they can hang in there.
I feel like they got a couple of good playmakers with Blackwell and Tanji over there, and you know what they're actually doing this year that it feels like it's been a while. They're making free throws, for crying out loud, too.
Yes, boy, one kid in Arizona, 21 out of 22.
That was John Tanji, yeah.
Yeah, Tanji.
Yeah.
Man, I'm telling you, when they make free throws, it's just so much easier to win the game when you make free throws. My goodness.
I mean, that was kind of, a Bo Ryan thing, right? And then, just kind of fell off the wayside here. But boy, they're up towards the leaders in the nation in free throw percentage right now.
And that'll never hurt you.
Nope. So I was like, that's a big, big improvement so far this year.
It really is.
But they're fun to watch. I know it's only 5 games in, and they've got an interesting game coming up tomorrow night against UCF. UCF is also undefeated there too. So I like the mixture that they're doing here with this beginning portion of the schedule. You got Arizona, you got a team like UCF, and then a couple Big Ten teams, and you got Butler coming in as well before Big Ten really, obviously Marquette. That's going to be a fantastic matchup.
And boy, that Arizona win that's so nice to have in your back pocket as you get further into the season, and may need that for the NCAA berth.
Yeah, and I think a big time confidence booster for that young team.
No question about it.
So
hopefully they can play on the road. That'll be the next challenge. When they get on the road, some of these other Big Ten venues, they'll be able to hang in there. That'll be another test for them.
Yep. Nope. You're right. You're definitely right over there. So who is? Yeah, Wisconsin. Wisconsin still is number 1 in the country in free throw percentage. I have it up right now.
When was the last time we said that?
So yeah, this is from NCAA.com. Wisconsin's number 1, 88.64%. North Carolina's number 2 at 85.19%. So heck yeah, man. I'm all about that. That's cool. That's why they call it free, right? That's why they call it the charity stripe.
Absolutely. And if you don't take charity, you're not going to win. It's just the way it is. Badgers have lost how many games because of missing the front end of a 1-and-1 at the last 4 or 5 minutes of a game. It just is nice to see this turnaround, and hopefully it'll last throughout the season.
UW Green Bay is actually on the list too, with Doug Gottlieb over there. They're at 16th on this list for the highest free throw percentage. So
that's the strangest situation I've ever seen, how he can be a college basketball coach and do that national radio, because he doesn't do that program from Green Bay, does he? Or does he?
He does, yeah.
Oh, he does it from Green Bay now. Good for him.
Yep.
Well,
he does a little bit over there. So, yeah, I'm looking at their schedule. So they got 1 win on the season so far. It looks like they opened up against Oklahoma State, which, if you know Gottlieb's history, over there,
where he played.
They lost to St. Thomas. They beat Western Illinois, and they just lost to Providence. They got Ohio State coming up next Monday, it looks like. So
yeah, he's not afraid to play people.
Mm-mm.
He wants to build that program up too, and get some top recruits.
Yep. All right, let's take a quick break here. We'll talk a little green and gold as we get closer and closer to kickoff this Sunday between the Packers and the 49ers. Packers returned to practice yesterday. Everybody but who practiced? We'll tell you coming up next. Packers returned to practice yesterday to get set for their matchup this Sunday to take on the San Francisco 49ers. I think it's easy to say, desperate 49ers team right now, coming off of a loss against the Seahawks. Still, that NFC West division is up for grabs for anybody over there. The Cardinals currently leading that division with a 6-4 record. Everybody else is 5-5 over there. But Jordan Love chatted a little bit with the media after practice yesterday, saying he was obviously asked about the playoff loss to the 49ers last year. And he said it does add a little bit motivation for this game. Quote, I think just ending the season, getting in the playoffs, and being knocked out by the 49ers, whoever it would have been, that game is definitely going to sit with you. Said that that's what you've got to sit with all off season. It's going back, watching that game, trying to see what you could have done better, could have done differently in that game. It definitely sits with you through the off season, and then obviously you move on, just knowing that that's the team that knocked you out. We're definitely hungry for this game. The only player besides Marshawn Lloyd, rookie running back. I mean, you want to talk about some of the most unfortunate injury luck with this kid. So in the preseason, off training camp, he was banged up. Then he gets into a game a couple weeks in, gets hurt, finally gets off the injured reserve, and then he gets appendicitis. So, I mean, he's now on the non-football injury list here. You might as well call the rookie year probably a wash for him, but he obviously didn't practice. But Jair was the only player to not practice. Matt LaFleur saying they are giving him the week as usual to get ready for this game against the 49ers. I still don't know exactly what's going on with his knee, playing 10 snaps last week and then getting pulled after that. They haven't really said exactly what it is. They keep, everybody's saying it's not serious. What exactly is it going on there? I don't know. I really don't. So
if you're not playing, it's serious.
Yeah.
I mean, if it's not serious, you're playing, but it's obviously serious, and the kid can't play, and you can't expect him to play when you're injured.
Mm-hmm.
Hurt a little bit, one thing, but I think Lloyd, this might be kind of a blessing in disguise because I think he can play. I mean, the little bit we've seen him, he's looked pretty good. And if he could come back for the last 4 or 5 games, healthy as can be, I think that would make a big difference to have that kid healthy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I really do.
Yeah. So I don't know if we at any point this year, but he's definitely shown when he's out there, he's got that burst.
Yes, he does.
He's got that nice burst. And if you watched him at USC, over the years too, you probably noticed it. You probably noticed it over there too. So a lot of people thought he was the best running back in last year's draft.
Yeah, and he showed some, in preseason, and he showed some early on before he got injured and hurt and all the other stuff. I think he can play, and I think if he comes back healthy, the last 4 or 5 games, boy, what a boost that would be.
Mm-hmm. We saw that in 2010, right, when James Starks made his debut in that run. Over there, but Josh Jacobs is also having a pretty solid year season too. So
but I mean, no, he's not going to replace Josh Jacobs by any means. But to give Josh Jacobs a little rest here and there would go a long way, because that's when you get hurt, when you get a little tired. And so I think the kid, I hope the kid gets over this appendicitis in a hurry and can get back on the field.
Big time next 3 games coming up here: San Francisco, then a short week with Miami coming to town, and then right after that at Detroit. I think this is right now, if Green Bay wants to showcase, because a lot of people, especially from the national talking heads, I'm seeing one right now from a couple like Dan Orlovsky and Alex Smith. I'm going to play a clip from Alex Smith, by the way, what he had to say about Jordan Love and this Packers team. I think it was this past Sunday. But for a lot of people saying they're the team that can knock out Detroit, one of the top contenders in the NFC to knock out Detroit. Well, I think we're going to get a good test here in the next 3 weeks here to see if they are a championship caliber team.
Oh, there's no question about it. And Detroit's had some bad luck with Hutchinson, and now their linebacker Anzalone, that kid with the long blonde hair, he's out for a while now. And, that's 2 pretty important people out of your defense.
Mm-hmm. This is what Alex Smith, kind of maybe a little early receiver defer, but this was Alex Smith had this to say on Sunday about Jordan Love and the Packers.
This is one of the best.
All right, that's Alex Smith on Sunday saying he is don't make him a game manager. He is not allowing him to be joining him in that club. I love that he acknowledges that's what everybody.
Well, if you think back to the way he played those last, what, 7, 8, 9 games last year, he was, I don't know, free and loose or whatever. He wasn't playing like he was a game manager, like, this is a play I call, this is a play you run. I think he was really getting comfortable in there
Mhm.
and really played like a top quarterback. And he's got some numbers this year that are comparable to what he did last year, but he just doesn't seem to be the same quarterback yet.
And I hope. I shouldn't say hope. Maybe that's not the right one. Maybe with those injuries, because he looked a lot healthier in that Chicago game, right? Than
Yeah.
what he looked probably since week 1. Where with
But he
running
looked
and all that,
hesitant.
he did a little bit there at times too. And that throw, that was a mechanical. I mean, throwing off your back foot. And he knows better than that too. He looked more healthy. It's just maybe that's a building block we can use now. If finally healthy, okay, let's roll now. Let's
Yeah.
go. You know
I
that.
think so too. I think the kid is gonna get better. Hopefully, he'll replicate what he did last year, those last 8, 9 games, whatever it was. But I think this team does have a lot of upside.
Mhm.
Really does.
One player I want to kind of note here a little bit is Christian Watson here. So Christian Watson, if you're advanced or if you're into the advanced statistics and pro football focus grades and all that sort of stuff, he's got elite numbers in a ton of categories from deep. Yeah, here it is. So his deep rating from Pro Football Focus receiving grades. Deep rating is elite. Medium rating is elite. Short rating, so deep is 20 or more yards. Medium is 10 to 19. Short, 0 to 9. Elite. Elite, elite, elite. Does Watson need more targets? Is he developing into the whole debate with the number one marks? Because I think at the beginning of the year, we said, okay, if there was somebody that's going to be naturally developing in that number one, I think a lot of people said Watson's probably got the best skill set to do that. He's got the speed, he's got the height, all that. Does Watson deserve more targets, more attention now?
Oh, I think so. I mean, but how do you got Reed. Dobbs is, not doing all that much. I mean, he dropped the ball that should have been caught, in that game.
Tucker Kraft's in there.
Yeah, Tucker Kraft, I think he's got to get more. And that's what I said a couple of weeks ago. I kind of criticized LaFleur. He's an offensive mind, but I don't think his offense is suited to his personnel right now. I don't think he's taking advantage of our receivers as far as some of the patterns that they run and the way they do it. I mean, these guys are elite. Reed was what a surprise coming out of Michigan State. I think Dobbs can be a lot better. Tucker Kraft could be one of the best tight ends in the game. And Watson, you saw some of the catches he made in that Bear game. There are an awful lot of weapons out there. And I've criticized LaFleur inside the red zone, inside the 10-yard line for the plays that he has available that he calls. And, I don't think it's on the players. I think it's on the offensive coaching staff to get more creative, for lack of a better term, as far as getting these guys the ball. I really think so. And I think that'll open it up for Josh Jacobs too a little bit more, because if they've got, they can't put 8 guys in the box. There's even 7 because of these wide receivers. But I think we need a little more creative offense.
I think it catches a lot of people off guard too. I know it did for me a little bit there. When you actually look at it, they only threw 17 times in that Bears game.
Yeah.
And when you think about it, because Jordan Love was just 13 of 17. They didn't throw a whole lot, which I give credit to LaFleur in this instance. He is sticking with the run. Like, he is committed to that running game, which how many years have we said that with like McCarthy and all that? Like, run the dang ball. Badger fans probably want more running, over there. But I will give it credit. Like, they are running the ball a lot more this year.
Oh, there's no question about that. But still, with the weapons you've got to make the defense respect your offensive weapons on the outside. And so you've got to loosen up the middle of the field there and make it easier for the offensive linemen. But when you watch some of these things and you've got 7, 8 guys between the tight ends on defense, there should be some room on the outside to get the ball to these other receivers. Josh Jacobs is a wonderful running back, and I think if they get more creative with the offense, he can run for a lot of yards.
Oh, he's top 5 right
Yep,
now, and
yep.
he's actually third right now for the most rushing yards in the league, only behind Derrick Henry and Saquon Barkley.
And it's just, and you watch the Packers, and all of a sudden, 3 and out in important times. And I don't know if it's the plays or the plays that they're calling seem to be the wrong play at the wrong time. You know what I mean? When you've got to control the ball, and it just doesn't. They don't seem to have the feel of this offensive personnel yet.
This was Dan Orlovsky from ESPN yesterday, chatting a little bit about the Packers offense. Audio courtesy from ESPN.
I mean,
All right, that was Orlovsky from ESPN just yesterday. So
Yeah, and I'd like to see tight end was mentioned in there a lot. Pulling and moving in this, but you like to see him, dragging that tight end behind and giving him more catches, and keeping the defense a little more honest. Because I think too they've got a good running game. Josh Jacobs has added an awful lot as far as a power running game, and hopefully they'll get the right mix of plays because San Francisco's front is pretty good.
I don't think, and this isn't a knock on him, I don't think the Packers running game is as good this year as if Aaron Jones is still in there. Is that a receiver defer?
I don't know how I'd respond to that.
Everything else is the same. Jordan Love misses those 2 games, and they've got to give Josh Jacobs the ball 30 sometimes. I don't think Aaron Jones is that type of back.
Oh, Aaron Jones can't take that kind of work. There's
Mhm.
no question about that.
No.
He's in a perfect setting with the Vikings.
Mhm.
Once in a while he'll carry the ball. He's their primary ball carrier, but you're not going to depend on him like the Packers are dependent on Jacobs this year. No question about it.
Right. That's why I feel like I don't think the running game is as successful if you sub in Jones and Jacobs. And that's not a knock on Jones.
Oh no, no.
I think Green Bay did a good
runners,
job of, okay, this is the type of back we got. This is what we're going to do in terms of trying to run the football.
Well, yeah,
sort of
that's
thing.
LaFleur's offense. That's the kind of running back he needed.
Mm-hmm.
Jones isn't durable enough. I think he's hurt now. Again, he got hurt the other day, I think last week, for the Vikings. Whether he's going to play or not, I don't know. But he's hurt a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And Jacobs isn't like that. Jacobs is pretty durable.
Mm-hmm. All right, let's take a break, and then we'll do some receiver defer to finish up the second hour here. We'll be back in just a couple minutes. Little programming note, Mr. Bolks just texted me. He's not able to hop on this morning, so no outdoor tidbits. But if you want to catch up, he was in studio last week for an extended version. You can listen to that up on our podcast if you want any last second reminders or questions. Maybe the same question that a lot of people had last week. You can check that out on our podcast. So
I hope that wind dies down by opening morning. That wind is nasty out there.
Absolutely. All right. Receive or defer time. Honor's yours, sir.
All right. Receiver defer. Fickell's explanation of his actions was inadequate.
I know where you're going with this one. So
obviously you know where I'm going.
I guess I'll receive it to a point because I think a lot of it was just coach speak.
Well, the one that really bothered me was the fact that the guy asked him a question about who's going to call the plays.
Yeah, and said, one.
What difference does it make?
Oh, so you could blame somebody is essentially, what he said.
What difference does it make?
Yep.
I mean, that was pretty much a cop-out.
But this year's been some weird quotes from all those coaches, whether it was, Fickell with that, the Phil Longo one where he said, I'm just here to please Luke Fickell, and Tressel. This was earlier in the season where he pretty much alluded to, he's like, yeah, well, we're not gonna have a game plan anymore. We're just gonna go out there. We're like, what are you guys doing? Like, what is this stuff?
Yeah, that's frustration. A lot of the fans, that's for sure. Receiver defer. Fickell had a Sunday morning meeting with McIntosh.
I'm gonna say receive.
I think so too. We never heard whether he did or not, but I think McIntosh is a little bit nervous right now. And the situation is, when you're talking about having to raise ticket prices because of all the income they need, they tore the shell down right next to the stadium. That's now, I've been watching that all season long, coming down in bits and pieces. Now it's all gone. And now they're going to be building another, I don't know what the building exactly is going to look like, but it'll be a modern facility, that's for sure. And when you're out there and the football program is the generator of income, and you're asking people to pony up more dollars, you got to give them more than you're giving them now.
Yep. Makes that job a little bit more difficult as AD now.
No, boy, does it ever. Receiver defer. The Bucks will be 500 by mid-December.
Mid-December, 500. They're 3 games out from that. I'm going to receive it because I think their schedule favors that.
Yeah, I'm going to receive it too. I just think they look like they're playing a little bit more together, and I think when Chris Middleton comes back, he's going to help them. He's going to give them some of that offense. He's not going to give them any defense,
right?
But he's going to give them some offense that they need. And you're losing some of these games by a point or 2 or 3. He can knock in a few threes. It'll make a difference. So I think too, the Bucks will be 500 by mid-December.
They got Pacers tomorrow, then the Hornets on Saturday, the Heat Tuesday, Wizards, Pistons, Hawks, Celtics, Nets, Celtics, and the Nets, and then it's the Cup tournament sort of thing. Then their next game, regular season game, isn't until the 20th. So, yeah.
Receiver defer. Council called Matt Murphy and congratulated him.
I'm going to receive that.
I would think he did. They're good friends. I would think he did.
I'm just glad that.
How ironic.
I know, right? I'm just glad it was not even close in the voting. I don't know if you saw the votes.
No, I didn't see the total.
So 30 voters. Murphy got 27 of the 30 first place votes.
Oh, who got San Diego? Got the others?
I think it was Mets.
The Mets. Okay.
Gosh, I blanked on his name now, but yeah, it was Pat Murphy won it wide margin over there, which I was glad to see.
Well, and it wasn't like the Mets made a run at the end of the year. Murphy had this team in first place all year, and he had to figure out ways to keep them in first place. And by golly, he did it pretty nicely.
Yep. And again, it's a good reminder too. Like, these are awarded for the regular season. Now, if you include the postseason, maybe it is a little bit different, right? Maybe it is a little bit different where Mendoza from the Mets gets some more votes over there.
Oh yeah, right. But for the regular season, nobody was better than him
from start to finish.
In either league, I don't think. I think he was best manager in baseball. All these teams, the Dodgers. We need something. We'll go spend for it.
Yep.
Yep.
I agree. Glad to see that he got that too.
Receiver defer. Atanasio should be taking on some other owners to help bring in some revenue for this team to buy free agents.
Ooh, some more buy-ins. By the way, Schilt did get second. He had 70 total, and then Mendoza was third. So,
because I was talking to people, and one name that was thrown out, and I'm just, this is just conversation. I don't know anything about, but somebody says, Craig Culver is a really big baseball fan, and Culver's is one of the most successful businesses of recent times, and he's got a lot of money. Now, would Atanasio take on some minority owners like a Craig Culver if he was? I don't know that. It was just guys talking.
Right.
But somebody that knows Culver pretty good, so he's a big baseball fan. But would Atanasio, or should Atanasio, take on minority owners to bring in some revenue so they could at least keep some of the, because you got guys Terang and Fickle and on we go with some of these guys that are going to be.
You mean Frelick, not Fickle?
Frelick.
We don't want Fickle.
No, I don't think he can swing a bat that big. But some of these young kids, how long before they're free agents, because they're increasing in value every year.
Yeah.
And do what you did with Churio. Sign some of these guys to these long-term contracts.
And owners that, and I'm not saying, but I think it's mostly as it helps PR. Other owners besides like a Giannis buying in and that sort of stuff.
That's
right.
just for headlines.
But the Bucks do that with, Bridgman bought, I don't know how much percent, it's 7%, that's actual like controllable stuff. I'd agree. Yeah, receive. Why not?
Yeah, I don't know how much money Bridgman brings to this thing or how much he paid.
He's a very successful businessman.
How much he paid to be part of the Bucks, I don't know. But Atanasio, he keeps talking about we're limited with the funds and we're limited with how much we can pay. Well, be creative. Bring in some minority owners.
Bridgman actually has 10% now of the Bucks.
Oh, that's a good number.
That is a good number over there. So, but they also have all those Bucks have a few different owners over there too.
Does Rogers still have a?
I think he's got like 1% or whatever the heck that thing was.
That was just PR stuff.
But yeah, I would. Why, if it helps, bring.
Well, I wouldn't. Don't you think it would help to bring in some more revenue?
I would think so. More income coming in there.
Yeah.
But because he's a part of like an investment group, because he's a part of that group that with the golf with Live and PGA, that remember that a few months ago.
Yeah.
The investment group, he's a part of that.
Atanasio is?
Yeah.
Is he?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
So
well, if he's got, and I don't know how dedicated he is to, he's not a bad owner. I'm not trying to say that, but how dedicated he is to, making this team better. We let Burns go. Adames is going to be gone. They did sign, obviously, some of these guys, Yelich, to big contracts. So it's not like he's never done it. But I think he's got some young players right here now that help this team win that division this year, that they're going to be gone if he doesn't step up to the plate. And if he needs help, let's think about ways to help.
Yeah.
Dollars. That's the way pro sports are now. Even college sports, because college sports are really professional sports now.
Oh, yeah.
It's just a different venue.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I swear, though, if Juan Soto does sign with the Dodgers, I'm not watching baseball next year.
You think he would?
They had a meeting. I know he's taking meetings with a lot of people, but they had a meeting. So,
wow.
God, that's just going to stink.
Yeah, it is. It is. I can't imagine the Yankees would let him go. Boston is supposedly a big player here in this thing.
Phillies now apparently are in it too. So, yeah.
The man's going to be rich. Well, he already is, but he's going to be. What are they talking for him? They're not talking $700 million, are they?
Is it 6 or something?
I heard 650.
Yeah, but it takes one.
That's right. All
Just
it takes is
one
one person. So here's your contract.
What's that like to be wined and dined? And hey, we're going to give you 6. No, we're going to give you 620. We'll give you 650.
Yeah.
Golly.
You don't worry about $3 eggs.
No, not at all.
That's what I laughed about. Everybody, the economy is terrible. $3 eggs, but they're going to stores in the $80,000 SUVs to buy their $3 eggs.
Mm-hmm.
But that's just exactly what these guys like. Well, so do I'm sure they don't go to the grocery store. They've got somebody shops for them. But more power to the kid. He's
Yeah.
in demand and he's cashing in.
Yep. So, did you have anything else before our
No,
shot
that'll
clock
do it for right now.
cuts off here? All right. So again, no outdoor tidbits with Jake. He apologizes. He said he was looking forward to hopping on before the opener, but duty calls.
He's already caught a violator, in other words.
Duty calls. So, but yeah, best luck and be safe to everybody out there, especially Jake and his coworkers out there too. That will be out there in the woods this weekend. So, yeah,
Receiver defer. The deer hunting season should be longer than 9 days.
I would defer. I'm good with it.
Yeah, I think it is. I think it
Mhm.
creates more anticipation. And if it drags out, say, "Well, I don't need to go this week. I'll go next week." So I do think it. And it's.
Yep.
I think it's by being this way. I think it's a great season.
Because didn't they like a few years ago talk about trying to extend it or that?
Yeah.
And I'm like, I mean, you know, it works well for people's vacations and all that sort
Yeah,
of stuff too.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm good with.
Yeah,
with
don't change the tradition.
I agree. All right, 2 in. We got one more to go. We'll be back after these news updates for the final hour. Final hour on this Thursday morning kicks off right now. Got about 2 hours away from kickoff to begin the state high school football championships, starting off with Division 7 and then moving all the way up to Division 1, which will be the last one. But those games will be tomorrow for Division. Well, we got Division 7, 6, 5, 4 today, then Divisions 3, 2, and 1 tomorrow. But Division 7, Edgar versus Petoskey Cassville kicks off at 10 a.m. And then Division 6, Grantsburg is going to be in action. Then Division 5, Stratford, another program that's been there quite a bit. And then 7 o'clock, around 7 o'clock, it's slated. Division 4, Baldwin Woodville versus Racine St. Catharines. So
I wonder if they'll close the brewery down in Potosi. Potosi beer. It's been something we've had in Wisconsin for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
But good for those kids to be able to play in a championship game.
Yep. Rice Lake, by the way, kickoff 1 p.m. tomorrow against Slinger for the Division 2 championship. So,
one thing the WIA has done right. The football championships work very well.
Oh, yeah. So I did see this was a couple days, so I don't know if anything has changed here. But let me bring it back up here because there is a is it a lawsuit, I think, with WIA. Some schools going up against the WIA for football. Let me bring it up here quick.
For in what vein?
Missing out on the playoffs.
Well, we had that. What was it? A year or so ago, and
was Owen Withey.
Owen Withey was undefeated and couldn't get in there because the secretary at the office didn't file the papers right, and that was on the WIA, not Owen Withey, and they still didn't make it right. That's what I say. The WIA seems to be having, for the most part, the football playoffs right, although obviously not perfect.
Yeah, this is from a couple days ago. This was from Travis Wilson, Wisconsin Sports Network. Said that a group of parents in the Madison West football program retained legal counsel to press the WIAA and Madison School District for answers and information about their exclusion from the football playoffs, which many feel was incorrect based on the tiebreaker criteria. So, I don't know if anything's going to come of that, but I would doubt it's not at this point.
If Owen Withey was undefeated and couldn't get in, I don't know how Madison West is going to get in because I know they weren't undefeated.
Well, I mean, it's a little too late now. So,
but I mean, for whatever going forward or a fine, I don't know what they can do, but
that's how big the high school sports. A lot of people take it serious, right?
It is. Big time. You should take it serious. It's not cheap to play high school sports either. You figure all the uniforms they have to buy and the equipment and transportation and coaching
for kids
salaries
just to pay to go play too.
We never.
I don't think I ever did when I was.
No, we never did.
No,
we never did.
Nope. So, but best of luck to those teams. And I know Blue Gold Volleyball starts their national tournament run going up against Northwestern St. Paul 4:15 today too. So lots of stuff going on right now. And I know men's soccer, they're continuing to be interested. It's actually maybe a little bit warmer this week because they're hosting the Sweet 16 over at Simpson Field, Blue Gold men's soccer. So if you drive by, you're probably seeing all the banners up there off of Claremont Avenue, but hopefully the weather will be decent for those boys over there too, and hopefully get to the Final Four after this weekend.
Yeah, you got to be tough this time of the year because when you start, it's nice and warm, 70s, 80s, and now you're down in the 30s and the wind's blowing. It's a little tougher.
Yep. But I mean, this program's in its 4th year, and every year they've gotten better. Last year they made it to the Sweet 16. This year they're back in it. They hosted regionals last week. Now they're hosting again this year. So for a program in its infancy still to be at that level, it's pretty darn good. So
yeah, I think so. The leadership, that current leadership and the previous leadership were focused on making the Blue Goals competitive in sports all across the spectrum, not just one or two, not just the headline sports of football, basketball, softball, girls softball, ladies softball, but across the spectrum. And I think they're on their way to doing that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I mean, in the Eau Claire area too, we know soccer is huge.
Oh yeah,
Look at the youth soccer programs, look at the high school teams. It's big time. It's big time in here. So,
it really is, and they got another step to get over
mm-hmm.
because these programs down in southern Wisconsin, around the Milwaukee area, Appleton, they put a lot of resources into it, a lot of energy into those sports like soccer, both boys and girls soccer. And our teams are knocking on the door, but they haven't been able to knock the door over yet
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
on a consistent basis.
Yeah, it's usually Rice Lake has gone to state a couple. I know they're close. Those battles between Memorial and Hudson too. It's
Yep.
a big time rivalry over there. And then River Falls soccer over there, or hockey, I guess too, but soccer too. But yeah, so all right, let's. There's an article I haven't read it yet, but it's up on si.com. This will probably fit in your wheelhouse. What you were just talking about. Just posted 9 minutes ago. Title is "It's time for the Packers to focus on best receivers." So there you go. You're talking about throwing the ball around a little bit more, but
yeah, the creative offense. You watch some of these teams play, and I guess Kansas City would be one, and you think, and of course you got Pat Mahomes, but I don't think Jordan Love is that far behind Patrick Mahomes as far as being able to move around in the pocket and adjust his throws. I think he just has to get more comfortable with those receivers. And I'd like to see him, like I said, I'd like to see him have a little more creative offense because it's you don't have Devontae Adams. He's still a step ahead of our receivers that we have now. And he and Rodgers, that back shoulder throw was lethal.
mm-hmm.
But the tight end is the one I want to see put more into play for the Packers.
Mm-hmm. With this game coming up against the 49ers here too, I think one of the things that I'm curious to see, and not even just with the 49ers, but with the final, 8 games that we have here, I want to see what Jeff Hafley is going to do because I got to imagine Detroit did it and then Chicago did it. Teams are going to start quick passing on this group. We saw Chicago do it with Caleb Williams.
Mm-hmm.
We saw Detroit do it. I went through the graphic when it happened. I think Jared Goff threw 2 passes that were over 20 yards. Everything else was like around 10 or even under 10 yards at that point. That's something that I think Jeff Hafley is going to have to figure out, especially if you don't have Jair. How do you slow that quick passing game down?
Well, you're playing off. That's one of the problems.
Mm-hmm.
They're playing off. They don't want to get beat, but the guys down under have to be better. And we've criticized him up and down one side and the other, and everybody's talking about the weak link in that offense or that defense is number 7.
Quay Walker, I don't know what he was doing in that Chicago game. There was a couple times. This is what bugs me about Pro Football Focus grades here for a little bit. They ranked him as the 4th best defender in that game.
Oh my goodness.
But anybody who watched some of that game, he's to me right now, he is your box score MVP. He'll rack up tackles. But there were a few instances in that game. I'll give him credit. He got there, but then the running back, he can't take him down. It's another 3 yards or it's another couple yards. And I use this because I was watching the Chiefs and Bills game, and I'm watching Leo Chanel hit the hole and hit that guy, and he's going down right away. And that's my problem with Quay Walker. Like, he can get there, but he can't take him down right away.
And I watched him in one particular play, and it was the Bears like 3rd and 3.
Mm-hmm.
And they handed the ball off, and here's Quay Walker in the hole. And then for some reason, he dove to the left and running back ran right by him.
Mm-hmm.
All he has to do is stick the guy right there behind the line of scrimmage. I mean, I don't know how smart the guy is. I really don't. Does he watch film study, and does he get anything out of film study and see how bad he is? Out of position, late to get to the ball. But I think, if you had a guy like that's a decent linebacker that could stop and help the defensive backs on that short passing game, because he's the bottom line, he's just not very good.
Yeah.
Whether he's a 1st round draft choice or 7th round or a free agent, he's not very good. And I don't know how they can continue to put him on the field. I really don't.
I think Edgerrin Cooper needs to be out there more. I think Wilson needs to be out there more. I thought it was a travesty that Wilson played was it 13 or 18 snaps in that total game?
Mm-hmm.
That guy needs to play more. To me, he's shown more this season than Quay Walker. I get it; he's a first-round pick, but I don't care anymore at this point. I don't.
No. What round now? He's a first-round bust, is what it amounts to, and you just can't. Just because he's first round doesn't mean you got to keep playing him because he's going to get better. Well, no, he's not getting any better. I mean, he's digressing, if anything else. And I think that's the frustrating thing of watching this kid. You see, where are you, Walker? You're late to cover the tight end on a pass. You run to the wrong hole. If you get in the wrong hole, you take yourself out of the play. You're not strong enough to drive a running back into the backfield. I don't see the advantage of playing this guy. I really don't. You want everybody to be successful, but this kid's had a lot of chances, and I
played 100% of the snaps in that game.
Yeah, his chances have run out.
There was that game. I'm like, there was like, what, Kyle? Like he got it there a couple, and he gets pushed back instead of him being the pusher.
Yeah, he doesn't make the plays. He does not make plays. But like you said, he's a stat stuffer. But you're making a tackle 6-7 yards down the field.
Yeah, exactly.
Not in the line of scrimmage where you should be. That's numbers can be misleading. Like they say,
don't box score scout. That's what I always say.
Yeah. And again, we've got to get Rashad Gary and Lucas Van Ness. They've got to get tougher.
There's
and that's what Preston Smith said. He got over to Pittsburgh and said, wow, what a difference. These guys are intense and they're tough.
I know Rashawn, a couple nuggets here. So he was graded as the highest defender in that game. Couple of notes though with Rashawn Gary here. Our good friend Ben Fennell. Only 4 teams in the NFL right now without a player that has more than 25 pressures. Atlanta, Arizona, Carolina, Green Bay. Rashawn Gary is sitting at 25 right now, but as Ben says, quote, you need a dude on the front in this league. Rashawn Gary is sitting at 25 currently, needs to turn it up down the home stretch. He has gotten better pressure-wise in the last few weeks here. His first 5 games, he had 6 pressures, which is awful, but in his last 5, he's got it up to 20 right now. So, but again,
pressures are one thing and making the play is another.
Well, I think part of that though too is if these offenses are going to continue to throw the ball under 3 seconds, getting the ball out quick. I mean, you're taking that out there. He needs more help too across the lines. I mean,
no question.
Kenny Clark, that might have been his worst game, I think, of his career against Chicago. When you're going up against backup guards and you can't get 1 pressure, 1 tackle, or nothing.
Yeah, he took a lot of heat over his performance in that Bears game. There's no question. Kenny Clark was not a bright light.
No, that 97's disappointed me more than I think of any defender this season.
Yeah, and I know you've been a great defender of his and a supporter of his, and rightly so. He's been a good player, but I don't know.
This year is just when you factor in, you got a new deal.
Yeah, that's what you factor in.
Moving to a 4-3, I think a lot of people thought it's going to be better suited for Kenny Clark.
I certainly did.
Yep. And this to me is by far his worst season.
Yeah, he's not doing well. Not doing well.
For a guy that, God, it's so frustrating. It's, if you're an offensive line, you don't want to hear your name called. If you're a defensive lineman, you're not hearing Kenny Clark's name called because he's not doing anything at this point. And it's completely, especially going up against the Chicago interior front where it was there for the taking.
Yeah. And how many years have we been saying, what do the Packers need to upgrade? Their front 7. Year after year after year. And Gutekunst is trying, but obviously his evaluation of college talent isn't all that good because Gary, Van Ness, and, we talked to,
Devontae
Walker, Wyatt. I mean, they're just not difference makers. One of them, by accident, has to be a difference maker, but none of them are at this point. Now, I don't know what Van Ness's problem is. Is he not tough enough? Is he not fast enough? Is he not smart enough? Because he's sure got the body to play that position, but he's not getting the job done either. And, by accident, you think one of your first round draft choices is going to be a difference maker, but to this point, none of them are.
I think Rashawn Gary part of it too, and Mike Wall, former Packer, who's if anybody follows him on social media, he does a really good job now of like breaking down stuff and explaining stuff, which I tend to listen to former players who've been in the trench, and like he's been a big thing of Rashawn. He needs more than one move. He can do the bull rush, spin move, but like because somebody made a point, is the pressure thing, and as Mike Wall says, Sean Gary needs to know who he is every single down. Is he going to be a bull guy? Is he going to be a speed guy? He's got to be that guy.
Yeah, he does look like sometimes he's not sure what he's supposed to be doing.
Mm-hmm.
And you get the great players, and whether it's Aaron Donald or
TJ Watt,
TJ Watt, they know what they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
They know what they're going to do. And you can almost, when you watch the Steelers and you watch TJ Watt, you almost see how he lines up against that offensive line, whether he gets in or whether he gets out on the angle of what he's going to do. And he's decisive. But Rashad Gary is not. And Lucas Van Ness, who knows what he's thinking out there.
That whole thing is perplexing me a little bit here at this point. So,
and going in, Caleb Williams had the best game of the year because the Packers can't stop a running quarterback. You go back to Michael Vick. On and on and on and on. What was that kid's name that Kaepernick for 49ers? Even Trey Lawrence, when he first got in the 49ers, he came in, ran for a touchdown against the Packers. They cannot stop a running quarterback.
They did a good job the first 2 weeks when they had Richardson and Jalen Hurts and that. But I think the telling point was when Kenny Clark said after the game, we weren't ready for Caleb Williams to, design runs, and we weren't prepared for that. I'm like, if you weren't preparing for that, I know Caleb Williams hasn't been running a whole lot this year, but if you weren't with a new offensive coordinator at least being prepared for that, I question the preparation leading up to that a little bit there.
You have to respect the guy. That's his reputation.
Mm-hmm. So
his reputation as a running quarterback and a scrambler and this, that, and the other thing. So, and I don't care who you are. Joe Flacco sees 15 yards of open field, he's going to run, and he's going to make it. And the Packers, for whatever reason, they're not fast enough in the front to stop a running quarterback. But again, that was my fear going into the Bears game, that Caleb Williams is going to have the best game of the year for him now. And I think if it wasn't the best, it was close to it. Because you could just see how comfortable he was out there. He wasn't stressed. He wasn't in his movements in the huddle, controlling his team. He was confident he could play against that Packers defense.
Mm-hmm. And I will say too, like they went in a little bit new offensive coordinator. You would expect they were going to do something different or not completely abandon the playbook. They did do a few different wrinkles there, but at the same time, that's what you got to prepare for the unexpected at that point too.
Yeah. And the Bears only scored 19 points, but still in all, I think Caleb Williams control the Packer defense.
Oh yeah, 100%
for the most part.
Mm-hmm.
And
the frustrating
just
part
because they're the Bears has only scored 19 points.
Well, the frustrating part, incredibly frustrating, is that final drive. You get 2 sacks on Caleb Williams. It's 3rd and 19, and then you allow that huge pass play to get it 4th and short. To allow
we're standing behind the receivers. We're not, we're not driving on the ball at all. We're let them catch it and we'll tackle them.
Mm-hmm.
4th and 26 come to mind. That always reminds me that they're playing like it's 4th and 26, standing behind the receivers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was like, "Oh, you kidding me?" Because I thought after that second, I'm like, "We got it now," and then it's like, "Are you kidding me?"
Yep.
It was like, God. Well, luckily,
they came out with a win, that's for sure. And and you got to, you talk about the preparation of not understanding what Caleb Williams brings to the table. Rich Bisaccia hasn't gotten a lot of credit or kudos for his performance in Green Bay so far, but they did their film study. They knew how to go after this guy. They knew his long kicks were low trajectory. They knew there was a little soft spot in the middle of that line, and they exploited it and got the job done. Now that's proper preparation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know if they said they were going to turn that into, they thought Packers should have been penalized in that play, but ain't going to change anything now. So,
well, turn in the one where they called unnecessary roughness on the Packer when Caleb Williams running the bounds, and the guy grabbed him by the waist so he wouldn't run over him.
Mm-hmm.
And they call, if that would have been in Green Bay, it never would have got a flag. But in Chicago, it got a flag because the crowd went nuts. It reminds me of one time in Chicago years and years ago where Walter Payton was running out of bounds and a Packer defender, and it was I don't know if it was Leroy Butler or whatever, went over there and didn't really tackle him, but kind of pushed him, and Walter Payton grabbed his face mask and twisted his face mask. And they called unnecessary roughness on the Packers, but that was in Chicago. I'll never forget that play. Walter Payton did that to him, and, he was defending himself, obviously, but he grabbed the face mask and twisted it in that game, and he didn't get a penalty.
I think, too, if they want to throw that video in, I think everybody can send in the video of Bears running back Swift, who literally moved before the snap, took that big step, and you had two officials in the backfield. Not one of them saw that.
Yeah,
you can see these little flinches from not one of them saw that. They're not doing their job either.
They can send that film in.
Yeah, they ain't going to do anything.
The Bears lost. The game's not going to be changed.
Right. Yeah.
Not going to be changed because you're not going to get everybody back out there and re-kick the field goal.
If here's the barometer is, or the base is, they couldn't redo the Fail Mary, they ain't going to redo anything after that.
That's right.
So, E.C. Ryan, Blake Martinez all over again for Quay Walker. I've seen that comparison quite a bit out there. John saying, I thought for sure Lucas Van Ness was going to be an Aaron Campman type of defensive lineman.
I did too, and better than Aaron Campman. I thought this kid, because he's fast enough, he's big and strong, and he's just not. And I don't know if I just keep hoping that he's going to have a breakout game, and all of a sudden the sea is going to part in front of him, and he's going to see the game. But so far he hasn't. But part of the problem is he's not on the field enough. And maybe that's because he hasn't performed. I mean, one problem exacerbates another. So I don't know what the answer is, but boy, I'd sure like to see those guys play better.
I'll keep going back to this thing. And I know it's maybe not the greatest number, but I keep going back to it, is these defensive line. I understand rotations and I understand wanting guys, fresh legs in there. But again, get your best guys out there to, where TJ Watt's out there playing 90%. Max Crosby's out there playing 100%.
Yeah, and our guys don't want to play the 100%. They don't want to play that much. They want to come out. Well, it's a different attitude, and that's why I was so hoping that they would do whatever they had to do to get Max Crosby at the trading deadline, because he'd, not only his ability, but he'd have brought an attitude change to that defense. And I think that's what they need, somebody like that, because whoever they've got on defense now, Kenny Walker's kind of a quiet guy. Rashad Gary, I don't know what he's all about. Quay Walker isn't going to be that kind of a leader. They need somebody that, by his performance and attitude, both can change the atmosphere on that Packer defense. They're just not tough enough, I don't think.
Outside of the secondary, Xavier McKinney plays 100% of snaps. Xavier McKinney's played every single snap so far.
And he's been, what a bonus that is to have that kid.
So he's played every down this year. Evan Williams in the games that was weak. That was, never mind. But, and then just looking at Quay Walker has played. That's interesting. So Quay Walker has played in every down besides week 7 when he played 20. Oh, that's when he had the concussion. And then he was out week 8. That's right. And then that's about it. I mean, your defensive line, Kenny Clark has played. The most snaps he's played was week 4 when he had 81%. Otherwise, he's hovering in the 60s and 40s. And again, Rashawn Gary, 64% last week.
Not enough.
And Enoch Barry had 57. Lucas Van Ness had 35. That bugs me.
Yeah, that bugs me too. It does. I mean, you're a first-round draft choice, Van Ness. This is second year now. You got to be establishing yourself as a player, and he's not doing that.
Because even when he was healthy and when he was out there, Aiden Hutchinson, who was probably on defensive player of the year path because he was on a tear.
Oh, yeah.
90%, 90%, 97%, 87%.
Yep.
That's what I want from my defensive end out there.
Oh, yeah. Well, you watch the Lions, Hutchinson, 97's always on the field. Always on the field. I mean, and the rest of their defense pretty much is too.
Right.
And that's how you get cohesiveness in the defense. Because all of a sudden, Rashad Gary's playing 60%. Somebody else is in there for, I don't know, 25%, somebody else 15%. You're not used to the guys next to you. Now, what is this guy? Oh, this is this guy in here now. What is kind of defensive pass rush is he going to give us so I can play my position? I don't think they're playing enough so that they're playing together so they know who's going to be where and who you can depend on your outside or your inside or behind you or whatever the case may be.
Yeah, I mean, even the Chiefs, Chris Jones, who's a defensive tackle, 85, 88, 89, 83, 87, and George Karlaftis, their defensive end, 86, 90, 89, that's what I want from Gary. I want that.
Yeah, and the Packers just don't have that.
No.
And I don't know if that's Hafley or LaFleur don't want to tire him out or wear him out. I don't know what the case is, but it's not adequate.
No, it's not. It's not even close to being adequate right now. So, and I've noticed, I know it's not fair to say this, but, but I have noticed a few times too. I've seen Gary tap the helmet, and that means sub. I know it's not fair. I saw it a few times.
Got the Indiana quarterback bench.
Yeah, Indianapolis, yeah.
Or Indianapolis, yeah.
I that's something I guess I'd have to pay attention, but I did notice it. I don't know which game it was. There was a few times I'm like, he's tapping out again. I'm like, I don't know if TJ Watt's tapping out that much, those guys. So, all right, we got to take a break. Already 8:30 already this morning. We'll be back. I want to talk a little college hoops and baseball coming up in just a couple minutes. We'll talk a little college basketball coming up here in a sec. Just before that, though, a lot of you have sent this to me the last couple days, and so definitely have gotten it. We've mentioned it a couple times here. Been getting it again this morning, but there's that vote that's going on right now, the Home Field Pride contest. So what it is for I don't know if you've heard about this, Bob, either, but it's so football fields. So voting is open for the finals of the Midwest Sport and Turf Systems Home Field Pride campaign, which allows fans to vote on the best football field design and construction provided and installed by Midwest Sport and Turf Systems. One of the finalists is Eau Claire North. And the winner of this gets $1,000 for their school's athletic program. Voting is done in 5 hours. And again, I know a lot of you sent it to me, and we've mentioned a couple times here. I just want to know that we have been mentioning it. But it's close between North and Pulaski right now. It's about 250 votes away. North is behind right now. So, but
I haven't seen Northfield. Is it like Memorial right over a couple blocks from us? Is it about the same as Memorial? I haven't seen it.
yeah, it's got the big old Husky logo in the middle, that Carolina blue over there too. So yeah, I'm looking at it right now over there. So definitely stands out with that blue for sure over there.
Yeah,
So
it'll be interesting when the two schools start playing their home games at home, so to speak. But I don't know how they can do the North Memorial game at either one of those facilities. I haven't seen the North facility, but I know the Memorial facility wouldn't be big enough.
yeah, I
So
think
I don't
that
know.
one's still going to be at Carson Park. So
Okay. Well, good. Hopefully we get out and vote and get Memorial or get North over the top here and get that $1,000.
yeah, yep. Again, I think math wise, about a little less than 300, but there's only 5 hours left in the poll.
Oh,
so
boom.
better.
So how do you vote? What's
I will. If anybody hasn't voted, they don't have the link. I'll send you the link in our text line. Just hit me up and I'll send it over there. But there
right.
is a link out there, and we've shared it too. So,
all right.
go vote next 5 hours. It's open here.
Vote off like they always say.
You can do. Well, it's only one more day, but you can do it on multiple devices. So get your phone, get your tablet, get your computer, get your mom, get your dad, get your grandma, and all that stuff.
Vote early and vote often.
Gino Auriemma, now the most winningest college basketball coach of all time, with another win yesterday. I still think Gino gets is he a little overlooked at times when we talk about greatest basketball coaches of all time?
Well, he's in the women's game.
Is that why?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Because you got Wooden's always up there, obviously, and Coach K. I mean, if you want to go to the NBA, Dean Smith.
I mean, on and on you go.
You throw in NBA, you got Auerbach and Phil and all that. But I think, Gino had opportunities if he wanted to move to the men's game or anything like that. But
he created a niche for himself there at Connecticut, and he's still creating that niche. He's always, I don't know, I can't remember the last time he's had a team that's not in, he's going to say top 10, but almost top 5.
Right.
I mean, he's always had the best teams in the country. South Carolina has kind of moved in on him now the last couple of years, few years, but he's still right there.
Yeah.
And this Paige Becker he's got on his team now is, Caitlin Clark kind of took the mantle the last year or two, but this Paige Becker is still a great, great player.
Yeah, probably going to be the number 1 pick.
I would think so.
In the coming WNBA draft, which Dallas has that number 1 pick because there's Sparks got the second one, so there's a lot of people thinking she's going to be able to go to LA, the Los Angeles Sparks, but they end up getting the number 2 pick. So, so she's probably going to Dallas unless the Sparks can pull up a major trade over there. So
well, I hope they appreciate her in the league more than some of the players appreciated Caitlin Clark coming into the league.
Yeah. But Gino, 11 national titles, 23 Final Fours, including 15 in the past 16 seasons, 6 undefeated seasons, separate win streaks of 98 and 111 games.
Yeah, he's
unreal.
He's climbed the mountaintop, that's for sure, in women's basketball.
Unreal too. So, it's just, yeah. I don't think it's a surprise he's at the top with the most wins. Tara Vanderveer.
Yep.
He broke the record first. She just retired from Stanford. Mike Krzyzewski's 3rd on this list. Pat Summitt's still up there. She's 4th. on the list of all time too. Is anybody going to catch Geno? I don't know if anybody's going to catch Geno.
I don't know if they will. I kind of doubt it. I mean, receiver to first should it be considered the most wins by a college basketball coach, or do you separate men's and women's? For me, I separate them.
You separate them?
I do.
I think.
I mean, it's great accomplishments, but I think they both need to be recognized. Krzyzewski was a great coach. No, Krzyzewski's in third place. Well, no, he's not.
I think there is definitely a difference in between the two because let's face it. For the men's side, guys are playing 1 year. There's a lot of turnaround for the men's teams every single year, right?
Well, that's just since the last 10 or 15 years.
Right. But I think there,
yeah.
women's, you're not I mean, Caitlin Clark didn't leave after a year.
For them to go.
Right. They're playing their full seasons, whereas men's, I mean, they're constantly having to change their rosters, and their teams. So I think there is something to be said about that.
And I think that's probably not going to change because, let's face it, they're not multi-millionaires playing in the WNBA.
Mm-hmm.
And I think at college, they can make a lot of money playing in the college game. Caitlin Clark is independently wealthy already, let's face it. And, some of the other ones are doing very, very well in college with their NIL.
Mm-hmm.
And they're starting to get more, even in college and even in the pros, they're starting to get some advertisement money,
mm-hmm.
Some of that kind of money, endorsement type things, because you see them in insurance commercials, you see them across the gamut. And I think that's good. But I still think when you come to talk about the most all-time winners in college basketball, to me, you have to separate the men and the women.
UConn's a blue blood, right? Both,
absolutely.
Both.
And the men's coach they got there, Hurley.
Hurley, yeah.
He's rapidly establishing himself as maybe one of the greatest of all times. He got 2 national titles already.
If he wins a third in a row, man, that's going to be something.
You're talking wooden territory.
Mm-hmm. Especially in this day and age with how these teams are. That's if UConn does it, where they win 3 in a row in this climate, that will be one of the most impressive things, I think, in sports.
Yeah, and he's keeping his players there. They want to stay there. They want to play for him. And you look at what has to be done now. Back in the day, you won the Big Ten, you got in the tournament. You finish second, you don't get in the tournament. You finish fifth, you don't get in the tournament. You didn't have the gamut to run with 64 plus teams in the tournament now. You just had a very few, and you win 3 games, you're national champion. Now you gotta just, it's a tougher road to hoe. And I'm not saying one's better than the other. It's just different.
Yep. Before we take a break, I did have a receiver defer I wanted to get to, and I want to ask it right now before I forget it. Receiver defer, with the report out there that Woody Johnson apparently wanted Aaron Rodgers benched.
I just heard that.
It was after the Denver loss. Receiver defer. This will be Aaron's final year in the NFL, not just with the Jets, but in the NFL.
I received that because I don't think anybody's going to want him. And obviously Woody Johnson doesn't want him back if he wanted him benched.
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying I'll receive that because I don't know who would want him.
I know there's been some people throwing out the possibility that, Minnesota, Sam Darnold goes somewhere with a big-time deal, and McCarthy, who just had a second knee surgery, would they bring in a veteran for another year and all? Minnesota what has Rodgers gone out there and shown that people said, I want me that guy for my starting quarterback?
I can't imagine Minnesota would be that desperate.
I don't know who. Unless you're a franchise trying to sell Bucks, but then Aaron's probably not going to want to go.
I don't think Kevin O'Connell, our head coach, who I think is very, very good, I don't think he wants to mess with that personality.
Mm-mm.
And why would you want to do that for a year? You're setting your team back. You really are. I'd be surprised.
Yeah,
I think this is his last year.
And the thing is, too, is like if Aaron says, yeah, I'm going to play another year, if you're the Jets, dude, you're like, okay, you're gone. They're going to cut him or something like that.
Sounds like if Woody Johnson wants to bench him, I think Woody Johnson is going to say, well, you might want to come back. You aren't coming here.
Yeah,
And who's desperate for a quarterback in the league? There are some teams that, aren't very good. Tennessee, would Tennessee want him? would he want to go to Tennessee?
He's got
That's
a
not a
house there,
in Tennessee.
Nashville,
Oh, he does. Well, good luck.
because that was the rumor a couple of years ago that Tennessee was going to. That was when Vrabel was the coach there.
But I don't know if they'd want him.
Yeah.
I mean, what does that do for your franchise to try and move forward by bringing a guy like that? That obviously his best days are behind him.
Right.
Granted, he's a smart football player. His attitude is not. I mean, every once in a while, more often than not, now you see that clip of he and Saleh coming together, and Saleh wanted to, give him a hug, and he just pushed him away. I mean, he's not an endearing personality by any means.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. What a fall, man.
Yeah. Oh, what a fall is right.
What a fall. Unreal what's going on over there right
now.
I
never expected. I really expected the Jets to be pretty good with their defense.
Yeah.
And I thought Rodgers is going to really take advantage of having that great a defense. Not happening. They get beat by Denver 10-9.
Well, then you get beat by New England.
Yeah, exactly. And beat pretty well.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. I think Rodgers' days in the NFL are numbered. I think this is last season. I'd be shocked. Who in the world and how can you go to Tennessee? We just brought that up. Okay, I'll play for you, but I want $30 million. Right. Is there an owner dumb enough to do that?
Takes one.
Maybe that's that's a good point. Maybe that's why they're Tennessee. I don't know, but I just can't imagine anybody would want to, because he sure couldn't. I don't know, 20 million. How much would you pay the guy? Too much.
Yeah, I mean, I think the thing is that he looks like he can still flick it, but the lower body isn't there. Maybe the processing I don't think is there. It's just.
And you watch him and you look at him, and he sure doesn't look like he's enjoying playing.
No.
He doesn't look like he's enjoying the game at all. Davante Adams is kind of the guy I feel sorry for, because I don't know what kind of a song and dance Rodgers gave him to approve a trade to the Jets, because it's not working.
No. Nope. And I know they're going to get a coach because there's only 32 jobs, but it's not a very attractive place to go for me if I'm a head coaching candidate.
And it's not just this regime with Rodgers. It hasn't been an attractive place to go for a long time, because Woody Johnson, you hear all kinds of these talking heads saying Woody Johnson is probably the dumbest owner. I mean, they say that term, they use that word, the dumbest owner in the NFL. Well, he's got a lot of money behind him from family money for drugs and whatever else, they've gotten into.
Mm-hmm.
But when they say that he's the dumbest owner in the NFL, that doesn't bode well for trying to get a successful organization put together if he's going to be a hands-on owner.
Yeah.
I mean, Jerry Jones at least seems to know a little bit about football. I think his ego gets in the way of him putting together a decent franchise in the last few years.
100%.
But I don't think Woody Johnson understands how to do it at all.
Mm-mm. All right. We'll take our final break here, and we got some picks to make. Picks and predicts. Got football tonight. We'll hit that up, and some hoops games coming up after these quick words. Wrapping things up, let's do some picks and predicts brought to you by the Elbow Room in Eau Claire, located right next to that Banbury Place. Be a good time to go over to the Elbow Room. Garrett's 49ers fan, so a little Packers 49ers action this weekend too. So stop by, grab some beverages, and watch some of these games in action. Maybe even tonight. We got Pittsburgh versus Cleveland. I think I know who you're picking over here. You're going with the Browns, right?
TJ Watts.
Yeah. Pittsburgh's been impressed. I think kind of a nice surprise this year how well they've handled that quarterback situation, starting off with Fields and now Russell Wilson. They're going to be 9-2, and they're leading that division.
Yeah, they are, and they're going to be tough because I think they're going to get better offensively, and they've got a nice in-your-face defense. It'll be interesting to see how Preston Smith fits into that defense if he does at all.
Mike Tomlin still just showing why he's one of the better coaches in the league at a consistent rate. Let's do some NBA picks. Not a whole lot here. We've got Minnesota taking on Toronto.
Minnesota.
Let's go T-Wolves. Yep, absolutely. Utah at San Antonio.
I'm San Antonio. I like San Antonio. I like OKC. I just like those young kids, those big guys on both teams.
Victor Wembanyama is having a pretty darn impressive second year so far.
He's really a nice player, and he looks like a nice kid. And he plays hard, and he's not one of these I make a basket and turn around and growl at you. I just get on my end of the floor and play what I got to do.
Yep. I'm going to go Spurs too, and then Orlando at the Lakers.
Lakers are hot. I'm taking the Lakers, especially since this kid that's coming on, this draft choice that they took at what's his name?
Tyler?
Pletcher, or what is his name? But anyway, he had 9 threes the other night, and 17th.
Or Dalton Connect. That's what I'm thinking.
Connect, yeah. And he's coming on, and I think
the Knicks Tyler Kopech.
I think he's going to be a real asset for them as another tool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
so I'm taking the Lakers.
I'm going to go Lakers too. Let's do a couple of. Well, do we have any? Today's Thursday, not Wednesday here. I'm trying to see if we got any good college hoops games. Baylor at St. John's. Baylor 13th, taking on number 22 St. John's.
Nice to see St. John's back in the mix. They were down for so many years, but the traditional powerhouse years ago, and it's nice to see St. John's back in it. I know Baylor with their coaches done well, but I'm taking St. John's. I like St. John's.
It's at St. John's, so I'm going to go with St. John's over there too. So that's about it for our picks and predicts here this morning. Although, what's on tap for the MLB awards tonight? We got MVP. Cy Young was last night's.
Yep, left-handers in both leagues.
Yep. Tarek and Chris Sale, which is kind of weird to say Chris Sale won his first one.
Was that his first Cy Young?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And he pitched for La Crosse Loggers, so if you don't get out in the summertime and watch Northern League play, you're missing some awfully good ball players.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So I think it is MVP tonight. Is it MVP? Yep, it is MVP tonight. So
I think that's pretty much.
Is it pretty in the bag there?
Conclusion in both leagues. I think that'd be a shock if it wasn't Aaron Judge and Shohei Ohtani.
Mm-hmm. That's my picks too. So maybe the better option is like who's going to finish second in each one.
That's probably a better vote, and more of a nail biter than who's going to win.
So American League, the other finalists is Bobby Witt Jr. and Juan Soto.
Well, Bobby Witt Jr. great start, but he just faded at the end, and just he wouldn't have beat Judge anyway.
Mm-hmm.
But he really fell off at the last part of the season, and he's a great young player, but he just didn't have a full season.
I think he finishes second, though.
Yeah, I do too.
Yeah.
And he'll tell you that too. He was disappointed in himself.
Yep. So I think he'll finish second. And I think Lindor is going to finish second in the National League, Francisco Lindor.
Mm-hmm.
The other finalist in the National League is Kettle Marte from the D-backs. So
the only thing about that is Tiger Woods used to say second place is the first loser.
No.
And nobody remembers who finished second.
I'm just trying to think of something to pick for this one because this one's going to be just.
Yeah, this is a pretty easy one.
Ichiro, should he be a unanimous baseball Hall of Famer? That's kind of the question going out there.
I think so.
Mm-hmm.
He came over. He wasn't how old was he when he came over?
Oh.
I mean, he wasn't a 19-year-old phenom when he came over. He'd played in Japan for quite a while, and he put up some big numbers in the best competition you'll ever see in Major League Baseball. I think he deserves to be being unanimous choice.
I do too. I think so many people just they have some of the stupidest reasons not to vote somebody just because it's like, well, nobody should be unanimous, so I'm not going to vote for. Just stop.
I know.
Yeah, it's just so
he
stupid.
deserves to be in. Vote him in. I mean, Mariano Rivera and but Derek Jeter, were they?
Jeter, I don't think was unanimous.
But
no.
Rivera was. Was there another one that was unanimous?
I thought that was the only one.
I don't remember, but now you can't tell me. Okay, here's a list of everybody that's in the Hall of Fame. You tell me which one was the only unanimous choice.
Yep. Mariano was the only one.
Yeah.
So.
Well, was it Babe Ruth? Was it Ted Williams? Was it Mariano Rivera? Great, but best baseball player? No.
Yeah. So that's kind of the talk here. Is that could Ichiro be the next one? Could he be that next one?
I think he deserves it.
I do too. I mean, you talk about a hitting clinic over there, that guy.
Yep.
Yeah. Heck yeah, absolutely. So, Ken Griffey got 99.3.
Yep.
Tom Seaver 98.8. I just read something about Tom Seaver. Was it? Yeah, one of them was like, no, nobody. There was a voters like nobody deserves to get it in first time, so that's why they didn't vote for him. It's like
stupid.
So dumb.
Take their vote away.
Yep. Have fun at Deer Camp, man.
We'll do our best.
Safe travels for Thanksgiving too.
We'll do that too.
Absolutely. All right. Have a good Thursday. We'll be back tomorrow morning, 6 a.m.